same vein, Mr. Carter?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? All right. Thank you very much. We don't have any proclamations or awards tonight, so we will move straight into public participation. People wishing to address the council. We only have one person that's submitted a slip. Do you want to speak now, Mr. Lostrom, or do you want to speak whenever? Okay. Specifically, I believe that's item number 7. Item number 8. Okay. Thank you. All right, I have nobody else signed up for public participation. Okay, you're filling one out. Is it on anything specific, or? No. Why don't you come on up to the podium and we'll go ahead and take your public participation. You can fill that out after.
My name is Terrence Jones.
Welcome. Make sure there's just make sure that the mic is pointed at you. That way everybody at home can hear you as well.
Okay, thank you. My name is Terrence Jones. I'm the owner of Tam's Empire. I build several houses in Lake City for small income homes and stuff like that. I got several commercial properties that I'm trying to work on now to bring the city up. One is on Rural Street. I'm trying to get a food court park down there. I got 2 buildings that I'm trying to get towed down, and I just want to let y'all know that you have people in the community that want to build up the community. So I hope that y'all will see what I'm trying to do and the way I'm trying to go with doing it and make everything right for the community. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Tam. Nope, we have 2. Hey, do you mind taking do you want to take any questions from or comments from the board? We have 2 folks that want to ask you a question.
Mr. Terrence Jones, I know exactly who you are. You do a very, very good work, I must say. Can you explain to me what 2 buildings that you want to tear down and make that park?
It's on the corner of Rural Street and Escamilla Street. It was the old Weaver grocery building.
I remember that.
It's that one, and it's the one where Lake City Industry, that building also.
Yeah, on down.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I just want to let you know, man, I'm all for businesses coming into Lake City, and especially business people that's already here that is trying to make our city look good, to beautify the city. So I'm just saying that I'm on your team.
Appreciate it.
As far as you coming and up here to let us know what you're trying to accomplish. So I am definitely with you with that. So whatever I could do, I'm pretty sure that's in another district. But I'm all for beautifying the city of Lake City. So just keep that in mind, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Mr. Jones, you do know that is in a CRA neighborhood, right?
Yes, sir.
So did
Yes,
you
ma'am.
speak with Mr. Rosenthal or either Assistant D. Johnson about that and what kind of help that the city can assist you with as far as?
Yes, sir. I actually spoke with him last week concerning that. I went to the meeting that they had at Richardson Gym. Actually, I didn't know anything about the CRA, but I learned a lot of information when I attended the meeting. That's why I'm here today, to learn as much as I can learn with what's going on in the community and what I can do to help the community.
Well, I am definitely on board for you redeveloping and trying to make Lake City look better. Please stay in contact with Mr. Rosenthal or either D. Johnson.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Young.
And this is not a question, but I would like to say that particular area, and this is a large area, that's really an eyesore, and we spotted that, I believe, probably a year and a half ago, and Johnson looked out to see who owns the property, and I understand that Mr. Jones has purchased the property, and I'm happy about someone having the property who wants to beautify, and not only beautify, but adds event, what that will be helpful and appreciative to the community. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Councilwoman. City Manager Rosenthal.
Yeah, so we are already working with Mr. Jones. Procurement is working with him on getting those buildings knocked down because they are in the CRA, and Scott's going to be working on them with the plans and whatever he submits for that. He needs to submit a drawing for us to bring before this council, and we need to have a timeline for when he's gonna build something back there. He's already aware of that, and we're gonna work with him until we get this done.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
All right. And that concludes our public participation for this evening. So we will move on to our consent agenda.
So
Mr.
true,
Mayor.
yeah.
And we don't have anybody signed up for public comment, so we've got a motion to approve the consent agenda from Mr. Jernigan
Second.
and a second from Mr. Carter. Thank you both. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? All right, very good. Now we'll move on to presentations. We have one presentation tonight, item number 4, Partnering for Progress from Precept Acquisitions in the City of Lake City. So, Mr. Rosenthal, I'm going to turn this over to you for introduction.
Yes, we have we have Miss Leslie Burkhoff. She's the president of Precept Acquisitions, and she has a presentation for your review tonight, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
Right. Good evening, council members and city administration. My name is Leslie Buckholtz, and as he said, I am representing Precept Acquisitions and Equimerit Communities. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present a strategic partnership proposal that's aimed at creating accessible housing solutions for Lake City. All right, so we have Precept Acquisitions is a land intelligence and development consulting firm, and we have more than 30 years of combined experience in real estate acquisition, project management, and consulting. And so our goal is to act as a strategic intermediary between municipalities and the private sector, facilitating housing delivery solutions using proven models like the Equimerit Communities and Nehemiah's Court project. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. But our expertise spans land identification, partnership formation, end-to-end development management, and it's always with a focus on alignment and governance. So in today's economic climate, we know things kind of are going up and down, and sometimes it's not as clear what the direction actually is, or just where we stand in terms of rising costs, fluctuating interest rates, cautious investment. But what I do know is that cities that act decisively to shape their future rather than react to the change that's required, it gives them the opportunity for competitive leadership in a growth-minded way. And so by partnering with Precept Acquisitions to implement a phased delivery model that will help you to accelerate your timelines for your housing initiatives, it will allow you to secure competitive funding, help you to transform underutilized land into community assets. And we believe that this proactive approach not only addresses urgent housing, but it also strengthens economic resilience and ensures growth aligns with your comprehensive plan. I do want to say, I'm kind of reading some facts to you, and I always think about when I do a presentation, nobody wants to just be read to, but I do want to present facts first, and I want to take my time and kind of outline the facts, and then at the right moment, I really want to transition and kind of back up and tell a little bit of the story. But it's important, I believe, to just make sure that you understand who we are, what we're trying to accomplish, and how partnering with us can help you to accelerate your timelines. And so ultimately, we want to be able to create a transparent governing framework that allows you to keep construction development decision-making authority decisions at the city level. The gentleman that came before, what's the process when someone comes in and wants to be a part of the city's renovation? What are the process? What are the steps? How quickly can you bring that those decisions to life? All of the different things, the CRA, all of those different things. There's a requirement at times to have a process that's clear and definable, and we want to be able to be a partner with you to create those processes, create those timelines, and deliver a model that allows you to reach your goals. So what's the opportunity? Lake City's population is growing. You sit at a critical intersection between I-10 and I-75. You're the key gateway for freight, logistics, regional connectivity. You're attracting residents from Jacksonville, Gainesville, and Tallahassee. It's well known that Florida is growing. And your internal growth includes your own retirees, your high school graduates, your college graduates, young families, your current workforce, all of whom need housing as the population continues to grow. And so this dramatic increase in the demand for housing goes beyond your current supply. And so by aligning our efforts to create a model to help you provide a solution for that with your comprehensive plan, we believe we can help you to ensure a sustainable, intentional economic growth and help you seize today's opportunities. So what do you get from working with Precepts? Well, we help cities make smart choices about land and homes. We look at maps and we use land intelligence rules to analyze your city's zoning and infrastructure requirements to find the best places to build. Our development strategies build partnerships and recommend financial programs to support housing development. We help you to get things done like identifying and prioritizing federal and state programs such as the USDA Rural Loans, Hometown Heroes, Florida SHIP programs, Housing Choice Voucher for Home Ownership. We provide execution support from planning to permitting to completing your goals and expectations one step at a time in the right order. And I think that's really important, is understanding what that order is. Having, again, a clear process that defines where's step one and where's the end goal and how do we reach that. So with that said, how do we do this? Our first phase is property identification and partner engagement. So in the first phase, we sit at the table with the city to help you identify the most suitable property for development. We use our land intelligence tools, resources to pinpoint parcels with the highest potential. Then we assist in vetting those options for zoning, infrastructure, and long-term value. And once the right property is selected, we support you in negotiating the final purchase to ensure that you receive the maximum value that aligns with your goals. Now, for each one of these phases, I think it's really important to understand your return on investment. So in the first phase one, we help you to vet the land to make sure it's the right type of land and the right purchase, and we help you to negotiate it at its current market value. Phase two is conceptual design and feasibility. We create a preliminary design for the proposed community, and we run due diligence feasibility checks. We do surveys. We do geotechnical reports. And I don't know how familiar any of you are with the construction development process, but we do all of the due diligence that's necessary, the topographical reports. We do the utility and water service availability checks. We do the environmentals and other necessary technical reviews. Your return on investment at this stage is you have a conceptual design and feasibility study that makes the property that you own more attractive to developers. That's important because as we go through the next slide, you're going to see that at any point in time in our model, the city has the ability and the opportunity to exit. So it's not a requirement that you have to go from phase one to phase five, but it's more of a strategic opportunity to say you have the ability to understand where your investment, what the opportunity for a return on your investment is at each stage. So once the concept is approved in phase three, we have rezoning and builder bidding. We help you to develop any necessary zoning changes. We support the application process. We support the development of a PUD, which is a planned unit development. We help you to prepare for a transparent bidding process across different developers and construction industry experts. This establishes a process to allow qualified bidders to be able to compete fairly for the opportunity, because you're going to have a lot of folks who will want to work with the city, but we'll help you with a model that helps you to quickly create a process to allow for fair competition in order to develop your sites, ensuring you get the best value. We'll have the property appraised at this phase and secure a broker price opinion to help you reevaluate the change in value, because we believe and we have noticed that at each stage, the property values are changing and appreciating over time. So we'll help you to revalue the property in order to determine what the change in value is as a result of zoning changes. Again, what's your return on investment at this stage? Your phase three rezoning and PUD approval significantly increases the land's market value because it now has development rights, and considerable builder risks have been mitigated. Again, the goal is to purchase the property and to build homes. And so if you want to build homes, you're going to have to win or get the interest of developers who want to be able to partner with the city. And as a result, by mitigating some of the risks that the contractors are by mitigating some of the risks that the contractors have to deal with, you're creating a product that's more interesting and exciting to that developer, and potentially increasing the property value. Phase 4 is pre-development and horizontal construction. In phase 4, our engineers handle detailed plans. We have permitting. We support permitting, site preparation, everything that's necessary before the home builder construction begins. So this includes your roads, your utilities, drainage systems, all those things that are necessary to be in place so that the land is ready for building. Now, this is just a visual of the same information that I just provided you. And the reason why I wanted to kind of take you through the facts first and then give you the visual is just to show you that each phase you have city signature authority. So let's say that you wanted to purchase a piece of property. Once you purchase that piece of property, if the value increases to a certain degree that you decide, hey, this is an exit ramp, we feel like in terms of what's it best for our constituents, we want to sell this property and gain the income, maybe not necessarily complete the entire development process. You have the ability to do that at each individual phase. What you should expect is the property to increase in value over time at each one of these stages. So you're constantly having the ability to determine whether or not this is at the best interest of the city at each phase. And so this can take 12 to 18 months, but you've got that opportunity throughout each of these phases to kind of continue to reevaluate your decisions. Your return on investment after the engineering phase and after horizontal infrastructure in place is that the property becomes ready to build. So at phase 4, the value of property peaks, and it's at its highest peak at this point, which takes us to phase 5, which is the land sale to the builder. And so at this point, you're completing your ultimate objective, which is to take that land that was identified, that you've decided what the look of that land would be. You've decided what's going to be built on that property, and now you're taking that, creating a contract, and selling that to a home builder. Because you, again, have mitigated majority of the risks, right? In construction, a builder will have to find land, just like the gentleman said. You got to go and find, if you're doing renovations, you got to go find the properties. You got to determine whether there's asbestos. You've got to go all of these different things. What the city is doing is literally taking all of those risks out of the requirement for the contractor and saying to them, hey, we are giving you a finished product with a built-in customer. And so now what's happening is you're attracting investment from not just a local, but a regional, national audience, because you're a growth-minded city. You're coming with a product that's complete. You understand what's important to these developers, and you're providing them with the opportunity to avoid things like having to bank land, having to buy the land, having to pay interest to hold the land, to go and do all of the steps that we've done. You've gotten ahead of that, and now you're attracting lots of interest to your project, and you're attracting lots of well-funded interest to your project. So you know you're getting the best of the best coming into Lake City. So each phase, again, like I said, requires city signature, and you're retaining the authority at every stage to say, you know what, we want to exit. Maybe the costs have changed. Maybe construction costs have gone up. Maybe what we estimated isn't what we expect. Well, then at each phase, you have the opportunity to kind of make that determination and determine how you want to exit. So the benefits to Lake City, I'm going to just kind of read the headings real quick, because really, it's more important to me for you to tell me what is important to you, rather than me trying to tell you where your benefits are. But what you can find is that you're going to have accelerated workforce housing. You're going to have reduced risk through expert guidance. You've got initiatives. Do you have the expertise on hand already to go through this type of process and deliver on your objectives? If you don't, then you have expert guidance to help you do that quickly. Economic and social benefits. You have community-centered development that's aligned with your city goals. One of the things I do want to point out here is that we partner with nonprofits who are able to provide financial literacy support, credit qualification, and who can help to develop qualified buyer pipelines for home ownership. Our company has worked with Habijax in Jacksonville. We've done some similar programs with them, and they've built homes. But at the same time, what they've done is provided that credit qualification. They've been able to provide that financial literacy type education that helps those who are interested in purchasing homes have the ability. And that's just a nonprofit partner. We're not necessarily talking about building Habijack's homes, but trying to find partners, whether it's Wealth Watchers, whether it's just different firms that have the ability to come in and provide that education so that you've got that pipeline for home ownership already in place. So now, what I want to do, I guess, is transition a little bit into why this is important. And so, like I said in the beginning, I have been talking about facts. I wanted you to understand who we are, how we do it, why we do it, what our approach is, what the model is. But there's really a story behind it. And I think what's really important is that facts are important, but you want to understand impact as well as facts. I'm from Baker County. As a matter of fact, I'm from Margaretta, Florida, which is between Sanderson and Glen St. Mary. We don't even have our own, zip code or anything like that. One little street, one way in, one way out. My grandparents in the 30s, they purchased land and they built a home. My grandmother was a maid. My grandfather was a road worker and turpentine, and they had 12 children. They purchased land. They had foresight to purchase land, and they built a little shotgun home, and they raised those 12 children. But they had enough land, and they had enough insight to be able to pass on subdivide the land for their 12 children. So every single one of their children were able to purchase their own homes. Every single one of their children were able to pass on the benefits of home ownership to their children, the benefits of understanding the value of appreciating assets to their children. My mother was able to inherit her parents' home. My dad renovated that house. It went from a shotgun home to a 5-bedroom, 2-bath home with different little amenities. And this is not an area that has a lot of resources. If any of you are familiar with it, we didn't have a lot of resources, but we had a 5-bedroom, 2-bath home in the early 70s, and that just wasn't the norm. But they were able to then take those lessons and teach my brother and I those same lessons about home ownership, so that by the time my brother and I were adults, we both were able to own homes. They were able to help us. I've been able to do the same thing with my children, help them own homes. Now, I would just say to you, stop and think, how many maids and road workers today could provide for 12 children in today's day and age, 12 children, land enough not for just themselves, but for their children and their children's children. And a wise man leaves an inheritance for their children's children. And I can say to you that what we found, and the purpose of this project, I came back to Baker County. This is called Nehemiah's Court because my community gave me what I needed to go to school and have the ability to experience working on Wall Street, working on Main Street, working on everything in between. But I wanted to come back home and share the experiences that I've been able to gather and gain from my experience in real estate over these years. Bring that back home and help my community to grow. And not only do I want to help my community to grow, but I want to help our surrounding communities know that we can grow. And not only can we can grow in a way that is not just efficient, but in a way that takes that same idea that my grandparents had and said, home ownership is one of the number one ways we can create generational wealth. If they can do it, I believe that we can do it. We just have to have the mindset, and we have to have a model that allows us to accomplish those goals. So what you see here is Nehemiah's Court. It's in Baker County. This is a proposed community in Baker County. It's about 70 acres. It has about 18 acres of recreational space. We're talking about dog park. We're talking about a community gardens. One of the things, we worked with Baker County for over a year to figure out what was important to them, what was important to the planners, what was important. We did a town hall. We talked to the community. We spent a lot of time saying, help us draw for you your conceptual design. So we included some community gardens here to help memorialize their rural heritage. We've got walking trails. We've got single family homes, townhomes. We've got duplexes here, all in an effort to say that we can build something that's nice. We can build something that is attractive. We can build something that not only provides for the residents, but gives back in terms of revenue. This one community alone exceeds the total revenue for property tax in the city of McClenny. So we're not only bringing in generational home ownership opportunity, but we're saying we're giving back to the community by making sure that the revenue supports that growth. And that's what we want to be able to do, is to work with the community of Lake City and say, we have the ability to help you not only see what's necessary, but also quantify that, because it has to make sense financially. But we have the ability to help you to make it make sense from a financial perspective. But ultimately, we want to be able to help you understand that you have a community that's full of individuals who want to provide for their children, who want to be able to have homes. And I believe having an appreciating asset is one of the number one ways that you can make sure that your community is stable from an economic and social standpoint. So my last slide, I guess one more slide, I guess, is our ask. Today, we're just asking that you vote your approval to engage with Precept Acquisitions and really two things. One, we've got the technical expertise. It's not just, we've got some of the top engineers in Jacksonville, top architects in Jacksonville who are well experienced with projects such as in Nocatee and St. Johns County. We've got very experts who have a wealth of knowledge and understanding that we will bring together. So you won't just be talking to myself, but you'll be speaking with a group of experts who will have the ability to guide this process from beginning to end. What we're going to do is provide the model and make sure that the process is followed, but you're going to have the right type of experts in play that's going to be able to provide the detailed understanding you need. But we ask that you vote on your approval to engage Precept Acquisitions to provide Lake City with the tools, resources, and the expert guidance to advance immediately on your housing initiative to take advantage of the economic advancement that is to come in 2026. And so my last slide is really just a summary, but I'm open for any questions if you have anything that you'd like for me to give you further details on.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Buckles. We do have some questions. Don, do you have anything to add before?
No, Mayor, go ahead with your questioning.
I will add, before we begin questioning, we won't be taking any votes tonight on any actions. Ms. Young.
Ms. Leslie, thank you for coming. Now, you've covered so much. Excellent job. I think you almost left no room for questions. But one of the questions, you've given us enough information to know who, if we choose to partner, who we're partnering with. And the other question, what is the ask of the city? How do you get compensated?
So the way we're compensated, and I've provided a proposal in the presentation, is on a project level. It depends on what the requirement is. And so if you want to engage with us, we say that what we will do is help you to determine what's the highest and best opportunity for our services. What help you well, first we're asking you to decide what it is that you need. What is your goal for 2026? And then meet with us to understand that goal, and then we can help you to prioritize properties that we can target. We'd love to be able to present something like Nehemiah's Court to you that has over 366 homes that, again, is a mixed market price point. So you're going to be able to service multiple levels of homeowners. So our goal really is for you to decide what is it that you need. And then once you determine what you need, we will help you to prioritize how to deliver on that need.
Another question, when do you get return on investment?
So you're going to get a return on your investment. I was trying to show you that at each phase. With Baker County, before any trees have been cut, we have been able to appreciate the value of that property over 7 times its original purchase price, and not one tree has been cut. So at each phase, there's an opportunity. Obviously, there's always opportunity for things to go in a different direction. But at each phase, because the city is sponsoring this, and with Baker County, we approached Baker and said, hey, we want to come and do something for you. But with you all having some initiatives that you personally want to achieve, you're going to attract some top builders, and I'm telling you that because Baker County has attracted them, and they are bidding to get in and provide what's needed.
So I hear you talk about phases. Who build these houses, or shall I say, is it one builder or is it different builders by phase, or is that our call?
So I'm going to go back to the slide here. So one of the things that's important to know is that you could, because we're making these lot ready, we're basically saying by the time Precept exits, if that's your choice, at phase 5, each one of these would be a lot that's ready to build. So you could hire individual builders, you could hire a select few builders. What we have recommended is that you find a national builder who can consolidate and coordinate the entire process, because you're going to get a more cohesive look, and you're probably going to get a better return on your investment from that one builder. But you have the ability to determine how you want to parcel out the development of that property. There's just different requirements and different nuances depending upon which direction you decide to go in.
Any other questions? I'll pause for a moment.
Mr. Garner.
Ms. Buckholz, thank you
Yes.
so much. So a couple quick questions. The Nehemiah Court that you showed us here, that's not built yet, right?
Not built yet.
Is the land purchased by Baker County?
No, we've purchased that ourselves. Again, we approached Baker County to say this is an opportunity we'd like to start with in order to help
So
you understand the
guys bought
goal.
the land and you brought it to their attention and said,
Here's this piece of land in your property. What would you like for us to do with this?
are you, as a organization, are you relatively new?
We are, as far as Nehemiah, or as far as Precept Acquisitions is concerned, but we've been in the industry for over 30 years, so we've got a lot of experience. And then our team, obviously is made up of industry experts.
Okay. Is it, have you done any of these before as this organization?
So we haven't done a project as large as this. We've done smaller projects. Like I mentioned, we've done, we had one project that was about 10 homes. We've done some commercial projects. We've done some other residential projects in Duval County. This will be the largest project to date. Ultimately, what we found is that we've created a working process, and it's the process that we're duplicating. It's the same. The number of houses expands, but the process is the same.
Has Baker County voted to engage in this?
They're voting to engage on this on the 18th, but we believe we have secured the approval of the city commissioners.
Okay. So just, and not so much a question necessarily, but to the council and staff. Obviously, I've been pretty vocal against the housing authority as we've brought it up in the past. Conceptually, this is more in line with what I could see getting behind. I don't like the idea of us buying land and building a thing and then us being the landlords effectively of that land. I don't think the city needs to get into what is effectively the eviction business at the end of the day. I don't mind the concept of finding areas and working to make those areas desirable, so I like this as a concept. At least it's definitely a step in the right direction, in my opinion. I had a couple questions on, there was a lot of the stuff that you guys said at the beginning that you guys do. You provide this service and that service. A lot of it does seem, and this is maybe more of a staff question, but like it would be maybe step on the toes of some of our current engineering firms. Is that the case? Would there be a little bit of a, they do it, we do it, et cetera? And I guess that would be a question for Dawn.
Well, I really wouldn't think so, Council Member Carter, because their firm has experts in it from all these other fields, and we have a lot of options as a city. We can require certain people to be there as far as city people that are already existing. Certain skill sets, engineers from certain areas, so we can work with them. They're very workable. From my conversation with Leslie, to do just that.
And so, let's say we hired you guys and we tried to move forward on a project like this. Would it be correct to assume that we would sort of be part of something of a flagship experiment?
Definitely. I think that, You would, but in the sense Nehemiah is probably going to be the flagship experience, and so we're going to be duplicating what we've been successful with in that from that scenario. But what you're going to find is it just puts you in the driver's seat. One of the things that happens is you purchase a piece of land, you hire a contractor, and then you've got to wait for them to decide, for you what you need and to give you guidance based on their perspective. But obviously, they're basing it based on what's best, in their best interest. This puts you in the driver's seat because you get to initiate a contract. And there are options. You don't even have to purchase the land up front. You can get into a contract and just set a certain time frame to evaluate the land and determine if all of these things are the right move for you, whether or not you want to go forward or back out before you have invested, anything other than the binder. But you stay in that driver's seat the entire process. You get to decide what goes into that contract. You get to decide what that conceptual design looks like, instead of being told that this is what we can do. You get to have this expert guidance that says, no, we've got our own we have our own information that allows us to make those decisions.
Okay. As far as cost, I think our agenda packet was updated today with the proposal that with prices and things like that. I did not have a chance to review that today.
Okay.
So as far as that goes, with the 5-phase system that you're proposing here, are there costs at each phase? Is it a package cost? How does that break down?
It's at each phase in order to allow for you to be the opportunity to exit at any point in time. So each phase kind of stands alone. What I've tried to do is provide a minimum of what I think is a maximum, but obviously, it depends on what the project looks like, what how quickly and how efficiently we can get through some of the steps. But there are costs at each phase, and they are all individually segregated so that you've got the ability to kind of make decisions by stage.
Okay. And then one last question, and it's really, again, for staff. Let's say that the council decided we wanted to move forward and work with precept acquisitions, for instance. What's the process like for hiring a company? Obviously, they've brought us a proposal, but does it need to be put out to bid? Do we need to give other companies the opportunity to also bid on that once we've decided? Is it as simple as this is an idea they've brought to us and we'd like to?
Staff actually wrestled with that problem. Sure. And we had procurement to look into it. I think she has a response.
So under Florida Statute 255.065, the city is allowed to enter into a P3, which is a public-private partnership for a project that serves a public purpose, such as providing workforce housing without going through the normal public bidding process. And so this housing project qualifies because it provides housing that serves a clear public need.
Thank you. My last thought on this is, again, I think that this is a more appealing way to approach the issue than us buying a thing, selling bonds, and building an apartment complex. I would like to have a chance to look through. Obviously, we don't have anything to vote on tonight anyway, but I'd like to have a chance to look through the numbers and get an idea of what sort of a price tag or something we'd be signing on to. But it does seem like the sort of experiment worth maybe looking into trying. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Carter. Councilwoman Harris.
Well, Queen had some questions, but everybody done asked. But I do want to know, how far in the process are you with the Nehemiah Accord?
So we are at the point where they're finally approving, we're getting the final approval on the plan unit development. So what's going to happen next is we're going to start engineering.
So that is phase what?
That would be phase 2, if I said that correctly. 3.
Okay. And how quickly do you think they'll start building on it? Once they go through the 5 phases, how quickly do you think they'll start?
So we can start within as soon as 18 months, sometimes as early as 12 months, but it really just depends on how fast we can get through permitting. So the engineering has to be approved. The city has to okay what we want to build and how we want to build it. We've got to go through the Army Corps of Engineers to make sure that we've got all of the acceptable permits and things like that. But once that's done, we're talking about 12 to 18 months.
And this piece of property, is it in city or is it in the county?
It's in the city limits.
Okay, you have a beautiful lake on there, 2 of them. Is that man-made or?
It's a man-made lake. We've got a little bridge, some little decorative items on there, but yeah, that's a man-made lake. Obviously, we've got to meet the water retention requirements, and so we're just kind of making use of what we have to do from a state standard, but using it to beautify the project.
Councilman
I love
Jernigan?
the height.
Thank you for coming in and doing this presentation. Really want to thank you for that. So if we were to engage in some type of contract, do you work for 2 years, 3-year contract, 4 years, 6 months? What kind of contract would we find ourselves in if we were to bid on it or go through procurement? Or what kind of numbers are we talking about for this contract?
Because we want to do the best that we can potentially do, you are only contractually obligated with us for as far as you decide that which phase you want to go in by project. So let's say we take on one single piece of property and you've got those 5 phases. We go through phase 1 and you say, nope, this isn't what we expected, then your obligation to us ends.
Okay. My next question, I think I heard you answer this already, but I just want to make sure with your guidance and your professionalism, are you going to be with us from start to finish, or are you going to, halfway through the project, we have a shutdown somewhere?
No, what we do now, obviously, in order to give you the best service we possibly can, I won't be responsible for every stage, all of the different tasks. And we do have project managers that we will add on. But it's my responsibility to be the liaison between the city and the work that's being performed from beginning to end.
Yes. One more, or maybe 2 more questions. So, Lake City is a part of Columbia County. Columbia County is a part of Lake City. Have you reached out to Columbia County commissioners and talked about your project and things of that nature?
We haven't. What we've decided to focus on right now in each of the rural areas that we're going in is their city limits. Because obviously that's where the population density is. And really, in terms of cost, that's where the utility and water services tend to be. And so what's super important is that you have access to water and sewer services. So we haven't reached out to the county just yet.
Okay, last question. I'm on board with Councilman Carter, believe it or not. We can agree to disagree about a lot of things. I like the way we're going to go about doing this if we decide. I'm hoping that we do, but I would love to see the results of your findings. I really would like to see that. So, in the city of Lake City, it's growing. Don't get me wrong, and it's all about business. When it comes to a business, let's be real. Get her done. That's the way I look at it, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman?
I have one more thing. I heard you mention about Jacksonville and other bigger cities, but we have local developers here. I would not want to be put in a position whereas we're taking food out of their families' mouths. Tam's Enterprise just stood up here and talked about what he's trying to do. And I'm just wondering, once we get to the point whereas we're either agreeing to go forward with you, what can you promise us that we'll be able to help the local developers? Because I don't want us to be here at home and we neglect home. I want the local developers and the people that are trying to build up the city. I don't want them to feel left out because we have some big city people come in and do things. So are there any promises that you can give us that you'll be able to help different smaller developers or, I don't know, realtors or what have you?
So you definitely want to see my role as supporting what you want. I am coming in to provide the process and provide the methodology and the approach. But you get to write the contract for the development. So when it's time for us to decide who's going to bid on this, or when you decide how to create the bid for the project. You get to write in what those requirements are. You get to do, set asides for local development. Now, I will, in terms of just recommendations, say that what you would probably want to do is say to a larger builder, you have to use X percentage of our local resources in this project if in order to bid on the project. But you get to make all of those decisions. And so I'm just there to say to you, you've got these, again, I think that's what the beauty of approaching development this way is you get to stay in the driver's seat.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Young?
Okay, what I do like about it is I consider it like prepaid, and you're not subject to a full contract. So we start out with Ms. Leslie, and I'm sure, I'm pretty sure, I feel pretty confident about it, that we'll go pretty far in this and hopefully to a completion with precepts. That's right, with precepts. What I would like to say is that we instruct the city manager to work with Ms. Leslie and bring back something back to the board by next meeting. Is that pushing it?
No, we can do that.
Meeting.
I have a slightly different thought on that, and Ms. Leslie's touched on it once or twice. And thank you for the presentation, great information. This is a very exciting project that you're doing in Baker County. But you've identified that you work with what our goal is, right? What our goal is. And we haven't defined that yet as a counselor and as a city and as administration. We have an upcoming workshop that hasn't been scheduled yet, but I'm going to propose now that we go ahead and schedule that for December 1st before our meeting on December 1st and identify what those goals are so that we can move forward in soliciting the services such as these. Does that make sense? Instead of coming at the next meeting, we haven't had that workshop yet that we all agreed that we need to have to finalize what our goals are for housing.
And I believe, because we were all over the place with housing, we were all over the place, and I just couldn't make no sense out of it. So I spoke with Mr. Rosenthal, and I asked that we need to bring it all together, bring it in, narrow it in. It was too broad. All over Lake City, different pieces of property and all of that. And I just see this is an excellent idea. It's a great opportunity, and that's where we keep falling, is where we keep pushing things out. And there again, this will be another project that we keep pushing the can down the road and does not come to fruition. So I don't agree with putting it out to December.
Sure. I'm only saying that so that the public has input on it. We haven't given them an opportunity to speak to it yet. Mr. James?
I 100% agree that we need to have the workshop before we look at a proposal. We need to have the workshop, and then I would think even have this organization or any other that interested in proposing something back after we've had a conversation so that we can give them any kind of vision for what we're looking for. So until we've had that conversation, it doesn't seem, I would, in all fairness, thank you. I mean, no disrespect. They're brand new. This is a beautiful drawing. I'd love to see something like this in Lake City, but at the moment it is a drawing, right? There's significant risk involved. And again, I haven't seen the numbers on the money because they just came in today. So no, at the moment, no idea even what sort of risk would be involved. But at the end of the day, we are talking about spending a lot of money buying land and doing things. So I think that we should have the workshop, if it's an hour or 4 hours, and all hash out what we're hoping to achieve. And then we have them come back. And if anyone else wants to present anything as well, and move forward from there. I don't think it's something that needs to be kicked, but we also need to talk about it. Like, this has been an issue that's been messy and here and there for a long time. So I think we should have the workshop. December 1st is as good as any day, and then hopefully move into the new year with some vision to cast for organizations like this.
I only say December 1st instead of November 17th because we have a workshop prior to that meeting already.
Right.
And I think it's a disservice to say that they're new. It's almost like saying inexperienced. I think that's a disservice to them. This is a great project. You hear the credibility, you see the credibility. Listen, council, we have to start somewhere. We don't have, as far as the city, we're gonna have to have help. We need someone to guide us through this. And I just don't want us to slip, on this. So, I just,
You'd agree that this is going to be a multi-million-dollar project, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So do you agree that there should be thorough discussion prior to engaging in a multi-million-dollar contract or multi-million-dollar project such as this?
I do believe that you do need to think through what it is that you're trying to accomplish, but what I would say is that what we're providing to you is the opportunity to help you work through those concerns. And we're able to come in and, as he mentioned, you're talking about a workshop. If there's some different data that we need to bring back before the next meeting, we have the ability to do that quickly. But obviously, in a large project, you need to know where you're going, what you're trying to do. But we've got the ability to support you in making those decisions, and we can do that quickly.
And as a public board, we need to give the opportunity to the public to speak to it, because it's ultimately not our money, right? It's not our money. It's the people's money. So we need to give them an opportunity to speak in that workshop fashion. Those are my thoughts.
I have a question. You said we have a workshop on the 17th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm with Vice Mayor Young, and I'm not talking about particularly this council board, but it has been a thing of Lake City to kick the can down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying December. Then when December get here, you're gonna say Christmas is here. Then when Christmas get here, you're gonna say the New Year's here. And before you know it, it's gonna be in February or March before we even get off the ground. So I'm with her. Let's go ahead. If you're gonna put it on the agenda for December the 1st to have a workshop, go ahead and put it on there. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way.
That's what I'm saying right now.
As far as it being everybody's money, we all agree on that.
Yeah, good.
It's everybody's money, but that everybody include us as well that's sitting behind this dice.
Sure.
So, and I'm not gonna sit up here and make a decision just to say I made a decision and it doesn't matter. I live in Lake City. I'm seeing the need. When I first got voted in, one of the first things everybody always complained about was affordable housing. And we don't have that. I spoke with a young lady, just got put out of her house with 4 kids, rent $2,200. She could have been owning her own house. And as far as, and I'm with the people here in Lake City renting out houses and all that. I'm with that. But with that, what about the people that can't afford that? It's not just a select few that we have to look after. We have to look out for Lake City as a whole. And I want to go ahead and get it done. Go ahead and we can vote on it tonight, whatever we need to do as far as putting it on there, as far as a workshop on December the 1st, like you said. Let's get it done, but I don't want to be coming back December the 15th and we got to talk about it again. I don't want to do that. So if you're going to have it on December the 1st, if you're going to make the meeting an hour long, let's make that hour long count. If you're going to make it 4 hours long, make it count. But we don't need to keep kicking this can down the road.
I agree. I think setting the date for December 1st is a great definitive action toward moving forward. Mr. Jernigan?
Yes, sir. We have a workshop on the 17th
We do, prior to our meeting.
at 5, right?
Yes, sir.
So we can't have this at 4. We can't have 2 workshops. Is that what you're saying? We can have one at 4, other one at 5, to give everybody an opportunity. And I can recognize and sympathize with Councilwoman Vice Mayor Young. She brought up the proposal, then all of a sudden it was changed to something else. I don't know if she's aware of that meeting, the meeting before the meeting, but I say if we could do a workshop at 4 o'clock and then have another workshop at 5 and then start our meeting at 6. Again, I requested to have a meeting at least once a month in the AM. That way we don't have to go through this kind of stuff. Just one meeting in the AM a month would simplify some of this. But again, you know, Mayor, I'm not the smartest cookie up here. I just try to just think business mind of the citizens. It gets dark now very early, and the constituents in my district, they don't want to come out here and sit in a meeting 6 o'clock at night, and then they have to go home and prepare dinner. You know the routine that everybody has to do, basically. But if we had a meeting in the AM, I think that this would help some of the kicking cans down the road, pushing things back. We could do it and start somewhere. And I know a lot of people are against it, but I'm telling you, having a meeting in the AM would be great. That's just my opinion. And
Exactly, what is the workshop on the 17th that we're having?
It's finishing the mobility study, because we only got halfway through it last time.
Yeah.
And it was an hour long, so I think that that'll be wrapped up in that workshop. So, yes, ma'am.
I believe, you know, we keep crying about housing, and we have an opportunity before us. And like I say, before this meeting, we were scattered all over the place when it comes to housing. And we have a person here who can pretty much bring things to perspective. And I believe that we should contract with Ms. Leslie with Precepts to at least get us started. And you know, initially, it's really a consultation anyway. We're talking about it so she can get an idea of what we want. She doesn't even know what we want really, because we haven't had that meeting with her. And in this, if she meet with each of us, or mainly working with the city manager, but nobody's gonna keep coming back and forth, and no compensation. So I just believe we should just go ahead and lock in with Ms. Leslie with Precepts, and so that she can get us on the right track, because we're all over the place right now.
I would like to hear from Dawn. Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, as your city manager, I don't make decisions for this board, so it's whatever this board says. But one of the things that staff was impressed with was the asset value increase over time. At each one of those steps that she pointed out, your land value would increase. I mean, that's the normal process. Also, the ability for the city to exit at each one of those exit. I mean, that's each one of those phases. The city can exit at any time. You buy the land, you do some work on the land. As far as getting through the permitting process, the value goes up. You go to the next phase and you decide whether you want to go on or whether you want to sell the land to all the people that's going to develop and just stand back. So I like the options that we had on this one.
Mr. Carter, you had a question?
Yeah, just, I think that makes sense what Mr. Rosenthal just said there, but I mean, theoretically, we could do that ourselves. We can buy a piece of land. We issue most of the permits, so we can probably handle the permitting. We currently are contracted with multiple engineers. Now, I'm not discounting the unique perspective that they may bring, but to be clear, a lot of that stuff we can do. If we buy a piece of land and we take care of all the permits and we take care of all the zoning, which we are the ones who issue those things, then we can immediately increase the value of the land ourselves. So really what we were buying from a company who would do what they are doing is the expertise, is the ability to focus the vision, and that's the only thing that makes me nervous, is the fact that, in all fairness, they haven't done this before. And if we see another presentation, I'd like to see some of the small things from Jacksonville, the things that have been completed and moved on to the it's done phase. Because, quite frankly, anyone can make a good-looking presentation. This, again, it looks beautiful. I'd love to see this right down the road. But I could tell ChatGPT to make me this and then show it.
That's the first time I ever heard you say that about somebody coming up here doing a
Council-
presentation.
Council, well,
That somebody could make a beautiful presentation. She did.
May I
but,
respond?
Wait,
to
hold,
that.
hold on. Councilwoman Young was next.
What I want to say is, I believe this is worth getting a consensus vote, and so that Attorney Clay can bring us back a resolution and vote at the next meeting. Because we're not voting to spend millions of dollars. We're voting for Ms. Leslie with Precept to come in and guide us along the way. That's what we need. And let me say this. Let me tell you how this got started. Attorney Clay, we were talking about housing. Attorney Clay said, you need to look at Bradford County, and you need to look at Baker County and see what they're doing. Go back and listen to it. This is what I said. Oh, you're in my stomping ground. I'll make some phone calls and find out what they're doing with housing. Who is this? How are they, how did they come up with these projects? I made phone calls. It took quite a few of them to get to a person. And I was led to another lady who lives in Texas. She's from Baker County. She told me, no, I don't do it, but you can talk to Leslie. I know Leslie from when she was much younger. She's not old now, but when she was much younger. And I thought Leslie wasn't real. When I called Miss Leslie, found out she was a developer, and she had a big hand in what's happening in Baker County, Attorney, just like you suggested, right? That was his idea. And that's why Miss Leslie stands here today. And it wasn't just by coincidence. She's standing there for a reason. Our help is right here. And I ask the council that we get a consensus tonight to contract with Miss Leslie to get us started with this housing. People are suffering for the lack of roof over their head. And we're sitting here passing help along, just giving up on opportunities. It's time out for it. It's time to get serious and get on the job and get people housed in Lake City.
So we're not voting on anything tonight on this item just because we didn't advertise it. So we haven't given the public the ample opportunity to come speak to it.
That's not a vote.
We do have to do that. We absolutely, yeah. So that's why we put out the agenda to the press and everything else. Mr. Rosenthal, you had a comment, and then Mr. Martin, you had a comment.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment that when we came to this board with the idea of the housing authority, we proposed that the housing authority do just that, what Leslie's doing right now. But because of the suggestions we got from this board, we went to an outside agency that more fit in with what the board wanted. And that's the city manager's role in this.
Well, ultimately, I think that we came to a conclusion that we needed to have a workshop to determine what our goals were, if we actually wanted to own assets or not own assets, and how we wanted to do that. I love this proposal, but we need to finish that conversation before we move forward. In the interest of allowing the public to put their comment in on it, I suggest that it's good to move with speed, and private development is not good to move with speed as a government, because things start looking like they have a high level of impropriety to them. Mr. Martin, do you have comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if the best person is Ms. Buckholz or if it's the city manager, but if someone just in the interest of moving this forward could connect me up in the right way to be able to get the contract documents that would exist between your organization and the city, that would help me start doing what I've got to do to prep it for whenever it comes back. That's unsettled yet, but regardless, I can start working on that in the meantime. So,
Well, Clay, for that, I would ask Ms. Bolkoff to send those documents to me. I would forward them to you, or she can send them directly to you.
either way, I just
Okay.
wanted to go ahead and get those and get started on it. So.
Okay, will do.
Just to conclude this item, we're going to have a workshop on December 1st.
What time?
Before the meeting. 5 p.m. Sound good?
No.
Well, you said yes a little bit ago.
I did, but you can, go ahead and do it on the 17th. at
17th.
4 o'clock.
Okay. Is everybody available at 4 p.m.?
No, I get off work at 5, Mr. Mayor. As with a lot of people who might want to come to that meeting,
Sure.
obviously.
I agree with that.
Sure you do.
It's the public. It's why we have these meetings at night, so that the public can be here.
Yeah, but we have to do some meetings during the mornings because a lot of people are retired, especially in the district that I am in. They can't make it, and these meetings are not for us; it's for them. And then when you get off at 4, you get off at 5, you got to work 12-hour shifts or whatever. It's not about us; it's about the constituents that we serve. So that's the reason why I just suggested and recommended to you, Mayor, and to the board that we have some meetings like in the AM. You get off at 5 o'clock, 5:30 is going to be dark. I'm telling you, most of the constituents that's retired is not going to get up out of that from cooking dinner, preparing whatever they got to do for their kids, and then try to get to these meetings. But while the kids are in school, grandkids are in school, they can have a easy day, come to a meeting, say what they got to say, and then we get out. It's just
So
that
at
simple.
this point, do we need to go ahead and, what we're gonna do, vote on whether we're gonna do December 1st, so where are we now?
Just a consensus on, well, I think that we should have a workshop. I don't think that we're prepared to make a decision, because we don't even know, we're not even defined as to how we want to participate in this process. I have a different idea than I think a lot of you guys, and that we prepare a good environment and that we're not an asset owner, because that opens up the city to a large liability. Whenever we buy a piece of property, if a kid gets hurt on it, if somebody stumbles through the construction zone, we're opening ourselves up to millions of dollars of liability. But that's just my thought. I know that it's different. Some folks think that we should buy, build, and own outright, and that's okay. That's why we're a council with different views. So I think that we should have the workshop, vet that out, give the public the opportunity to come speak to what they think, how they think we should be involved in this process,
They still have an opportunity.
but less of one.
That's just the initial. Ms. Leslie is the initial.
Yeah.
There's a whole, how many stages, so they still have an opportunity.
Mayor,
But it involves, and we've talked, and you've mentioned this, we need to know what our goals are to move forward, correct?
You do. So, if you've got, obviously, from my perspective, if you've got the time to review your goals over the next couple of weeks, we would love to come back and say, just as she mentioned, this is a phased process. So it's not as if you're making a decision about the entire process from end to end. Love to be able to help support your efforts toward prioritizing your goals.
We need to define them first. That's what I'm saying. We just need to define our goals. And we haven't done that yet.
Mayor, I'm in agreement with you having a meeting. Don't get me wrong, a workshop, and let our constituents know about what's going on. I'm just saying that I think we should do it on the 17th instead of the 1st.
And we can, there's nothing saying we can't shift the workshop that we currently have. It's just unfinished business, so we could shift that to December 1st and have that prior to that meeting as well, so.
Let's do that.
Sounds more like it.
Okay, so we'll have our workshop on November 17th, and shift our current workshop that's scheduled for December 17th to November 17th to December 1st. Sound good? Everybody in agreement with that?
Sure.
All right, great.
Okay.
Perfect.
We need to
Thank
come
you
at
very much.
4 or 5?
5. That's at 5.
Ms. Leslie, appreciate your time,
Thank you
most of
so
all,
much.
Thank you, Ms. Leslie.
patience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to take a break for 5 minutes. kick back off just a second.
He's over there.
Ready? Welcome back, everyone. We're now going to move into our quasi-judicial hearings, beginning with item number 5. Mr. Martin, I'm now going to turn over this portion of the meeting to you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, council members, you have 2 matters before you that must be considered and voted on by the council in a quasi-judicial manner. Those 2 items are on second reading ordinance 2025-2329, which is an ordinance amending the future land use plan map pursuant to application CPA 2505 by Carol Chadwick as agent for Real Terrace LLC, the property owner. And the second matter is the corresponding rezoning on second reading ordinance 2025-2333, amending the official zoning atlas pursuant to application Z 2507, also submitted by Carol Chadwick as agent for Real Terrace LLC, the property owner. As you know, the purpose of the procedure tonight is to ensure an applicant provides a complete presentation of their request to the council and to ensure they receive a full and fair hearing on their application, and any decision by the council is based on evidence presented. All public testimony is presented under oath. Everyone testifying is subject to cross-examination, and all documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. The giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts, and closing arguments will be limited to evidence of record. To accomplish this, we'll proceed in the following order. First, presentations from the city, the applicant, and any party interveners, followed by public comment from individuals and group representatives, and then cross-examination by the parties. Following that, if the mayor deemed it necessary, the mayor could allow additional presentation to ensure fairness and due process. After all of the information is received, then the council would ask questions of the participants if they had any. After that, we'll move to final arguments, and I will advise the council as to law necessary findings, and then the council can deliberate and vote. While the council welcomes comments from all persons with an interest in this proceeding, Florida law requires the council's decision and quasi-judicial actions be supported by competent, substantial evidence presented to the city council during the hearing on the application. Competent, substantial evidence is evidence a reasonable mind would accept as adequate to support a conclusion. There must be a factual basis in the record to support opinion testimony from both non-expert and expert witnesses. People presenting a testimony may support their testimony by relying on factual information provided by city staff, the applicant, or other factual information included in the city staff report. At this time, I need to inquire of each council member individually if they've received any ex parte communications from anyone involving any of these matters, and if so, to please disclose them. Vice Mayor Young, have you had any ex parte communications on this matter?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Councilman Carter?
No.
Councilman Jernigan?
No, sir.
Councilwoman Harris?
No.
And Mr. Mayor?
No.
All right, thank you. At this time, those who wish to present in this hearing tonight, if you could stand and raise your right hand. And any members of the public as well that are here on this matter. Okay, seeing none. Do each of you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony tonight? All right, thank you. Council members, you have before you proposed ordinance 2025-2329 on second and final reading, which states an ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida, amending the future land use plan map of the City of Lake City Comprehensive Plan as amended, relating to an amendment of more than 50 acres of land pursuant to an application CPA 2505 by Carol Chadwick as agent for Real Terrace LLC, a Florida limited liability company, the property owner of said acreage under the amendment procedures established in sections 163.3161 through 163.3248 Florida statutes as amended, providing for changing the future land use classification from county residential low density, less than or equal to 2 dwelling units per acre, to city commercial of certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Lake City, Florida, making findings of fact in support thereof, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. At this time, Mr. Angelo, could you please provide an introduction, summarize, and presentation of the staff's analysis of the proposed ordinance?
All right. So this is ordinance number 2025-2329. This was previously heard on first reading on September 3rd, and staff would like to adopt the presentation and all the documents from that meeting. And we have nothing further to add.
And you would move all documents into the record as well?
Yes, sir.
For the record for that hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Angelo. At this time, we would hear from the applicant, Ms. Chadwick.
Hello. I don't have a presentation to give, but I would like to move any further previous applications into the record for this.
From your September 3rd presentation.
I don't recall the date, but whatever the Planning and Zoning Board meeting was.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh, and if there are any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them.
Okay. we'll get to questions in
Oh.
just a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to comment on this matter? Any party interveners? Seeing none, are there any questions from the council at this time?
No, sir.
Okay, seeing none, are the parties waiving cross-examination? Final comment? Okay. Seeing that being the case, the decision of the council should be based only on the evidence provided by sworn witnesses. In addition, the application may be adopted if it preserves the internal consistency of the city's comprehensive plan, complies with applicable state laws, and does not confer special privileges or rights on any person. At this time, the council may discuss the application and testimony and any findings of fact upon which it wishes to base a decision, and should it desire, may adopt ordinance 2025-2329 following an appropriate motion and second.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Does anybody have any further comments, questions, or would like to make a motion to adopt City Council Ordinance number 2025-2329 on final reading?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-2329.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you both. Do we have any further discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Young? Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. All right, now moving on to item number 6, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, you have before you proposed ordinance 2025-2333 on second and final reading, which states, an ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida, amending the official zoning atlas of the City of Lake City Land Development Regulations as amended relating to the rezoning of 10 or more contiguous acres of land pursuant to an application Z-2507 by Carol Chadwick as agent for Real Terrace LLC, a Florida limited liability company, the property owner of said acreage, providing for rezoning from county residential single-family 2 or RSF2 to city commercial intensive or CI of certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Lake City, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. Mr. Angelo, if you could please introduce, summarize, and present the proposed ordinance 2025-2333.
All right, so this is 2025-2333. This is the rezoning for the previous one, and same thing, we want to, being this is second reading, we'd like to adopt a presentation from the September 3rd meeting and move it into the record.
All right, thank you, Mr. Angelo.
Thank you.
And at this time, we would hear from the applicant. Ms. Chadwick, are you also adopting your prior presentation and moving it into the record?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. At this time, we would hear from any comments from the public. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this? Okay. If you could raise your...
Barbara Limley?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right.
My question is, and it's probably not at the stage, but that intersection, dead ends, you go right or left onto Bascom Norris. And I travel that often, and sometimes it's difficult. Will there be any changes in the road set up as far as to go from Bascom Norris back onto Real Terrace?
Thank you. I would ask one of the participants to answer that question if they could. And this is the rebuttal period.
Okay. Without having a plan of development, that question is not answerable at this time. That would be something that would be addressed during the site plan process, once someone has purchased the property and is developing it.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Angelo, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I'd just like to add that Bascom Norris is a county road, so any coordination as far as development on county, on Bascom Norris would have to go through the Columbia County permit access process, and that would be reviewed at that time.
All right, thank you. Is there any further cross-examination from the parties or response to any of the comments made by others? Seeing none, any questions from the council, Mr. Mayor?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Are the parties waiving their closing comments? All right, thank you. At this time, the decision of the council should be based only on evidence provided by sworn witnesses. In addition, the council shall take into consideration the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board in those matters listed in section 15.22 of the city's land development regulations. At this time, the council may discuss the application and testimony and any findings of fact upon which the council wishes to base any decision, and should it desire, may adopt ordinance number 2025-2333 following an appropriate motion and second.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Does anyone on the dais have any further comments, questions, or would like to make a motion to adopt City Council Ordinance number 2025-2333?
Mayor, I would like to approve ordinance number 2025-2333.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you both. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Young? Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. Thank you very much. That ends our quasi-judicial hearing section, so we're now moving into old business, and we're going to go straight into our ordinances, beginning with item number 7, City Council Ordinance number 2025-2340. Mr. Martin, will you please read that by title?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, you have before you ordinance 2025-2340, an ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida concerning code enforcement and forgiveness of code enforcement liens, amending the definition of violator in Chapter 2, Article 10, Section 2-413 of the City of Lake City, Florida Code of Ordinances, providing for lien forgiveness and forgiveness of fines and liens associated with code enforcement proceedings by amending Chapter 2, Article 11 of the City of Lake City, Florida Code of Ordinances, providing for severability, providing for codification and scrivener's errors, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. We don't have anybody signed up for public comment on this one, so we'll move straight into council comments and questions.
Mayor, I'd like to approve ordinance number 2025-2340.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you both. Do we have any further comments or questions? Hearing none, Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Young? Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. All right, now we're moving into City Council Ordinance number 2025-2342. We do have public comment on this, but Mr. Martin, will you please read this by title?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before you, council, on second and final reading is ordinance number 2025-2342, an ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida relating to the presence of minors in businesses selling alcoholic beverages, repealing Chapter 6, Section 6-5 of the City of Lake City Code of Ordinances in its entirety, providing direction for codification of this ordinance, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. We'll now move into public comment. Mr. Lofstrom.
Hey, my only comment is I like less laws, and so I think this is great because it's not really relevant anymore, and now it puts it back on the parents, especially now after COVID. So many places have changed what they did. Even Cracker Barrel now sells alcohol, and so I think putting it back on the parents, if they want to go to a place, they can, but it's not still a law that can be selectively enforced. So thank you for getting rid of it.
Thank you, Mr. Lofstrom. That closes our public comment list, so we'll now move into council comments, questions on the final reading. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or would like to adopt City Council Ordinance number 2025-2342?
Mayor, I'd like to adopt ordinance number 2025-2340.
Second.
2342.
42, I'm sorry.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption on final reading. Do we have any further comments or questions? Hearing none, Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Young? Mr. Jernigan?
No.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. All right. We removed item number 9 from our agenda, so we are going to move into our new business ordinances, City Council Ordinance number 2025-2327. Mr. Martin, will you please read that by title?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, you have before you on first reading ordinance number 2025-2327, an ordinance pertaining to solid waste services and management within the City of Lake City, providing updated definitions, establishing provisions related to third-party and contractor-generated waste, establishing provisions related to storm debris waste contractors, establishing a contractor registration process for declared states of emergency, repealing all resolutions and ordinances in conflict, making findings of fact in support thereof, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. We don't have anybody signed up for this one, so we're going to move straight into council comments or questions. Does anybody have anything or would like to make a motion on ordinance number 2025-2327?
Mr. Mayor, move to approve City Council Ordinance 2025-2327.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you both. Any final comments or questions? Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Young? Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. All right, we're moving on to item number 11. This is City Council Ordinance number 2025-2341, first reading. Mr. Martin, will you please read that by title?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, you have before you on first reading ordinance 2025-2341, an ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida relating to the use of a speed detection system in school zones in the City of Lake City, Florida, creating Chapter 98, Article 5, Section 98-85 of the City of Lake City Code of Ordinances entitled School Speed Zone Infractions, which authorizes a school zone speed enforcement program and use of speed detection systems, providing program implementation requirements, designating school zones and enforcement, providing legislative findings, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for correction of Scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. We do have public comment on this, so we will call Mr. Lofstrom up.
Okay, I think this is a great thing. Normally, I think speed detection things are very annoying, and cameras at intersections and stuff can be wrong. But in school zones, I think people need to pay more attention. Nothing makes you pay more attention than when it hits you in the wallet. I have kids that go to school, so I'm in school zones all the time, also going for work. But it makes a big difference. There's a specific place in High Springs that I will always go slowly through. After I got a ticket once, it was only by a few miles and I didn't realize it. But after I got that ticket, from then on, that spot I will always pay attention. And so I think this is a great thing. And people don't always pay attention or don't realize how slow 20 really is. But having this is a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lofstrom. We will close public comment and we'll move straight into council comments or questions. Mr. Jernigan?
Yes, Mayor, can you have the chief come up and explain exactly how this system is going to work for the City of Lake City?
Absolutely. Chief?
Thank you. Florida legislature a couple of years ago passed a law allowing for this. This is for the safety of the kids. Now, the law itself allows the municipality to do a half hour before school starts all the way through till a half hour after school. I think that's a little excessive. My main concern is when the yellow flashing lights are on, when the kids are actively crossing the streets, going to or coming from, and my school crossing guards are in the roadway trying to stop. Crossing guards and students do get killed with people that are speeding, and reducing the speed greatly reduces the chances of somebody being injured. And just as an example, one of my traffic units in the last month, and one of the issues I have is when the kids are going back and forth to school, that's one of the busier times for the police department. People going to and from work, car accidents, people going to work, finding out something happened and we're responding. One traffic unit in the last month, we wrote 28 speeding violations in school zones. Now, with this system, it's a $100 civil citation. So there are no points against their license. The registered owner is the one that's charged. And by statute, the monies can only be used for specific items. And on the breakdown, if you give me 1 second. So $20 goes to the state general fund because the state needs to get their cut. The local municipality gets $60 for public safety. And out of that, $21 goes to the vendor. That's what they do because there's no cost to the city to run the program. $12 goes to the local school district for security and to improve safety of students' walking conditions. $3 goes to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Criminal Standards and Training Fund, which is used to train police officers. Lake City Police does benefit from that. And then $5 goes to the School Crossing Guard Recruitment or Retention Program. So the two parts that come to the city, one thing I'd like to do is raise the hourly pay to the school crossing guards. Some of them only work 2 hours a day. Right now, we're paying them starting $15 an hour. They're taking their whole day and getting $30, and that's before taxes. They're part-time employees. They get no benefits. So as far as the recruitment and retention, I'd like to use the funds for that. The other fund is I would use it to supplement gun safety and safety programs that the police department sponsors. So we could use that for the safety. One of the things that is really gets me is like the Bradton police, they had a 91% reduction a year later from vehicles speeding through the school zones. And again, the entire program is geared toward getting people to slow down in our school zones for the safety of the students. The reason the vendor was picked, they are a preferred vendor of the Florida Police Chiefs Association. I spoke with a few agencies. Now, the company's not perfect. They had some rough spots, but they've worked through those. The ones that have it speak very highly of it. High Springs uses it. Plus, it is the license plate reader that they use is Flock, which is a company I use for gunshot detection and license plate reader. So it's all tied into the system we currently have. I have a couple of license plate readers near school zones now. We'll be able to take those and deploy them into other areas of the city where I was planning on expanding the LPR system. So it's a win-win. And I'd really like the board to seriously consider adopting the program.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Jernigan.
Mayor. Yeah, thank you for explaining everything. That means the world to me. The safety of our constituents and especially the children is so important. My only concern is that when the kids are not in school and those lights are flashing, will the driver still get that ticket?
Okay.
That is because I can speak for myself. I don't know who else is going to speak. The kids are not in school, but I still slow down, but there's nobody there.
Well, if school is in session and the lights are flashing, they have to slow down, not just when somebody's in a crosswalk. But the way the system works, a vehicle goes through now, and by statute, there's a 30-day period when the system first goes online. We have to do a public service announcement to get the word out that we're doing that. Signage has to go up telling the drivers that this is enforced by the radar. There's cameras in the school zone, so we have video of what occurred. So when somebody goes through and they exceed it by 10 miles an hour, the company gets a notification. The first thing they do is they review the footage to see if there's a violation. Once they do, then an officer of the Lake City Police Department has to look at every single violation, make sure the plates match, make sure school is in session. Maybe it was a parent-teacher conference day and school's not in session. My traffic officers would know that because they're the ones that work with the crossing guards. We know that because the crossing guards wouldn't be working that day. And we just sit there and reject the charge and no citation goes out. So the final arbiter of who gets a citation to make sure that it's legitimate would be a Lake City police officer.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Chief. Mr. Carter, you had a question?
Well, that answered, you answered two of the questions I had. Just if we approve this, how long before full implementation?
Well, the contract needs to be brought in front of the next meeting, I believe. We would bring it in front of the council.
I think that's the plan, is the contract with Red Speed would come to the council at the next meeting and would be on the agenda following the second reading of this ordinance.
The only holdup after that would be FDOT would have to approve permit where they would go. And once that approval would happen, my feeling would be the company would move rather quickly. I would hope by February or March at the latest, it would be up and running.
My only question is are there any programs targeted toward stopping motorists from going around a bus that's stopped or passing a bus that is showing red lights?
There is, but the county would have to do that because the buses belong to this county school board. However, one of the things that my traffic unit does, if this frees them up from sitting in the school zones, is to go on to 90, go on the areas where the buses are, that we know they stop and the vehicles go around, and then but the traffic can concentrate on those kind of violations more than the speeding through the school zones.
Thank you, Chief. Does anybody, you have a question?
Oh, I just want to say for information purposes, thank you, Chief Butler, but I would like to say, this is what going to the conferences, it informs us of all of this. I believe it was 2 years ago that I brought this to Chief Butler's attention. Would he say he knew about it, but when we say something about it, kind of put a little fire on it and get them to moving a little faster. So this is why we go to conferences and gain this information and bring them to our administration and And this is what makes the difference in our cities. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Young. Anybody else?
Thank you.
All right. We've had public comment. We've questioned the chief. Does anybody have any further comments, questions, or would like to make a motion regarding City Council Ordinance number 2025-2341?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion on city ordinance number 2025-2341.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on first reading. Do we have any further comments, questions? Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. All right, thank you. Moving into new business resolutions. City Council Resolution number 2025-147 involving telecom auditing. Mr. Martin, will you please read this one by title?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, you have before you resolution number 2025-147, a resolution of the City of Lake City, Florida, approving that certain agreement between the city and Spyglass Group LLC, an Ohio limited liability company, for auditing services to analyze primary telecommunications service accounts, making certain findings of fact in support of the city, approving said agreement, recognizing the authority of the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, directing the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, repealing all prior resolutions in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. We don't have anybody signed up for public comment on item number 12, so we'll move straight into council comments, questions. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Mayor, I'd like to approve resolution number 2025-1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second in favor of 2025-147. Any further comments, questions? Hearing none, Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. All right. Now we're going to move into other items. We have a discussion, item number 13 on animal control. Councilman James Carter.
Okie dokie. All right, so obviously this is just a discussion that I want to start. We have, in the year and a half that I've been serving on the council, as a small handful of things that I hear over and over again. Things like traffic and speeding is one of them. Another one that like I said, anecdotally, probably 20 to 30 times in the last year and a half, I've had people call or visit me at my work even, or walk down and knock on my door in my neighborhood, complaining about the city's current nuisance animal process. There is, as far as I'm aware at the moment, we are currently contracted with the Lake City Humane Society to handle our nuisance animals and animal control in general. In addition to other people telling me their stories, twice this week and about 4 times in the last year, I've attempted to use the Humane Society to deal with a nuisance animal, in this case a dog in my neighborhood. And it's my neighbor is pretty much consistently being harassed by his neighbor's dog. Gets out all the time, very aggressive to him and his daughter and his girlfriend when they're in your yard. The experience I had is the experience he had, is the experience I've been told by a couple dozen people, which is there's a dog, it's being aggressive, you call animal control, and from my experience, I have not actually had, in all fairness, a positive experience yet when calling the Humane Society. Every time I've called, I have been given the "we're full, you have to call the county animal control." That's what's been told to me all 4 times that that I have tried to use it. My neighbor across the street in the last 3 months has attempted to use it 5 or 6 times, the exact same thing. And that's the exact same story that's been told to me by everyone that has brought it to my attention. When that happens, you call the you call county animal control, and they, in all fairness, I think they've got one lady, so it's not like it's a robust program at the moment. But they say, basically, that's not our job. You got to call the Humane Society. So then you call the Humane Society back, and you say, they told me I got to call you, and then you get the runaround back and forth for a minute. I have the luxury of having the chief of police's cell phone number. So then I call him because at that point, one of the 2 of them will suggest you got to call a PD. So I call the chief and I'm saying, what do we do here? So we're able to get an officer to go around there or something like that. But it's just it's a constant messy process. And in all fairness, if we don't get it sorted out, because if we're paying any organization to handle our nuisance animals. It is my opinion that when a citizen calls, they're never told, ever, under any circumstance, we can't come get it. Taxpayers are paying, we have a contract, you always can get it. If you have to develop a contract with someone else to help you deal with your overflow, however it works. And I don't pretend to know how it works, that's why I'm trying to begin the conversation. The only thing I'm concerned with is if somebody's afraid that a dog is going to attack their daughter in their front yard, and they call animal control, and animal control says, sorry, I can't because we're full, we can't, that's not a service. We can't pay and not get the service. So I don't know, I'm aware that the county has recently changed what they're doing somewhat. I'm not sure about all the details of it. I've been following it as best I can. I don't know if we need to look into changing it or not. I spoke with Ms. Halloran, who's the director of the Lake City Humane Society, today on the phone, invited her to come down. She's more than welcome to share any kind of ideas that we may have for addressing this. And to be clear, I'm not exaggerating. I'm talked to about this all the time, including today when I got to the meeting about an event today that the police, Assistant Police Chief Miles, told me about an issue that literally happened today, and they got the runaround. So we're paying for a service, and from my experience, we're not getting it. And so we either need to get it where we're paying for it, or we need to find somewhere else to get it. I don't know if you guys are getting the same conversation and phone calls, but this is just the start of a conversation. Our current service is not adequate.
Thank you, Mr. Critter. Vice Mayor Young.
In the past, I have had calls with issues with animals, mainly dogs. It has gotten a lot better. Haven't had hardly any calls. But I will say, to my knowing, Chief Butler, and you may want to correct me if I'm wrong, is if it's a vicious dog, police need to be called, not animal control. Is that correct?
Chief Butler's coming up.
Anytime there's a vicious animal, they should call 911. We'll respond out there. Now, the police department has no way of capturing the animal, but if we have to do something to protect human life, then obviously we'll do what we have to. The issues with animal control, the Humane Society, sometimes, it goes up and down. The last incident where the councilman called me, I ended up calling the county manager and making a mutual aid request. So they would send out their animal enforcement unit, which they sent out, and I guess they spoke with the owner and put him on notice that the dog cannot be allowed to roam. So, but again, and I encourage everybody, going through the police department, we have other ways of contacting different organizations if we need to, depending, not just a dog. If it's a large animal, livestock, we go through the sheriff's office because they have somebody that handles that. So, yes, we do respond out to those when we get calls.
If it's a dog that's threatening, you say you don't have a way to cage them. It's something you got to do before you cage them. Is that what you have the utensils to do that? The tools, or is that animal control? Animal
control has all the equipment to contain an animal. Basically, if we get there and it's endangering a human, we're going to put it down. And that's basically our option. That's unless we can lock it in a backyard or do something else. But unfortunately, that's all we're trained to do.
So it could be a communication issue here, because I was told by the police department that we're to call the police department if it's a threatening dog.
Correct. We'll send an officer out there to make sure we can make sure nobody's in immediate danger. And we'll keep an eye on the dog, because by the time you call, especially at night, there's not somebody sitting at either the county or the Humane Society. They've got to respond, get their equipment in their vehicle, and then go to where the call is. That could be an hour down the road. The officer will keep an eye on the animal, so when they get there, we see the dog. Or we'll also try very hard to identify who the owner is and get the owner back to the dog back to the owner, let the owner come out, get the animal, and then we can deal with it administratively or enforcement-wise when nobody's in danger.
So if I call you, and I mean your
The department.
If I call your department, there's a dog, angry dog, vicious dog, whatever, he's threatening. Once I call you, it's out of my hands. You deal with animal control. Isn't that right?
Correct. We'll take care of the issue. We'll call either the Humane Society, like I did the other day. I'll contact the county. The county won't respond with their enforcement unless they get a request from either myself or the fire chief for a mutual aid assistance, because we do not have a memo of understanding or a mutual aid agreement for animal control with the county, which I spoke to the city manager, I spoke to the county manager about that possibility.
I'll say, living on Lowland Terrace for a couple of years, which seems to be the last drop off point for very irresponsible pet owners or dog owners. I've been in a situation, and at the time my pregnant wife was in a situation. There were some vicious dogs that were loose on that street from time to time, just because it's around the corner from the Humane Society. The Humane Society at the time did respond, but there was a similar situation once or twice. I actually ended up with a dog chained to my front yard because of personal wrangling. So there is a communication issue. We shouldn't to have to make 2 calls to figure out who to call to remove an animal from a dangerous situation is just enough time for a child to be mauled, which is not what we're looking for. Looking through some of the contract documents, I'm not sure how often those have been reviewed. There are some things I think need to be addressed between, and I think that could be done at the administrative level with you, Chief, and Ms. Halloran, just to make sure that what the contract states is being executed. Just to make sure that's. I'm a huge fan of the Humane Society. I think they do a great service. I'm a supporter of the Humane Society. I've gotten at least one of my dogs from there. But we need to make sure that no kids are in harm's way whenever it comes to vicious animals. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Again, from the police department's point of view, our thing is when we get the call and we go out there, we need a response as quickly as possible, not
Sure.
down the road, because like you said, if we're keeping an eye on the dog and all of a sudden it runs up and mauls a child, now, in addition to the child being hurt, we're not doing what we're paid to do.
Now, flashing lights will obviously get a vehicle to that situation quickest. So an order of operations, a very clear order of operations for our citizens to follow in these situations, because as the mayor and council, if we can't figure out who to call first or who should be notified first, I think there's obviously a communication issue. Mr. Jernigan, you have something?
Oh, yes. We had a pig got loose. I don't know. The guy owned the pet pig down the street there. So I called I called the police department, and I want to say that they got there within minutes. I mean, after the pig messed up my car, and we started feeding it apples, and I didn't know if the pig was going to attack me or what, so I had no idea. But anyway, I called the police department, and they sent out this lieutenant right over here, Mr. Register, if I'm not mistaken, and he was running around the yard trying to catch the pig. He fell a couple of times trying to catch that pig, and I don't know what happened to the pig, but he didn't come back to my yard anymore, I can tell you that. So we've always had me personally, I've always had a positive experience with the animal shelter and the Lake City Police Department, because if you had seen the lieutenant out there trying to chase that pig, you would have said, "Is that for real?" I wanted to record it, but I can't do all that kind of stuff like that, So, but they captured that pig and got it to its rightful owner, I suppose. And but the bottom line is the communication, in my opinion, has always been there and probably always will be there, especially when it's a vicious animal. And again, just like I said, I didn't know if that pig was vicious or not, but I found out later it was a pet pig that had got out of the pen. So I've always had a positive experience when it comes to the animal shelter, And I think we got a good rapport with the animal shelter here in Lake City as well. All I've heard was positive. I really haven't heard anything negative about the animal shelter. So we just have to continue to work with them. I definitely wouldn't want to lose our animal control team that they have here. So if we just continue to work with them, work hard with them, I think we'll be okay.
I would like the council to consider, though, and I did speak with the county manager when I made the mutual aid request, is to get a memo of understanding where if there is something that's critical, that they're not waiting for a call from myself or the fire chief, that if the Humane Society, for whatever reason, can't respond, that their animal enforcement unit can come out and take care of that problem.
Is it, Ms. Young?
Define critical when it comes to an animal.
Dangerous, vicious. It could be, you could have somebody in a car and the dog's outside barking and wouldn't let the person out of the car. That's a dangerous animal. It's
Understood.
roaming.
All of them, if it's not mine, they're dangerous. Because they don't know me, I don't know them, so I consider it a dangerous dog.
And I agree, we don't know what the dog's gonna do.
Right, so, I'm still, what am I missing here? Call police, police call animal control.
But people don't call us directly. A lot of people call animal control directly, and what I've been told, and again, I haven't experienced it because when I call up, they've always responded out, is that they get the runaround and they don't know what to do, and they feel that their last resort is to call the police department. Where my feeling, and get the word out, if you have an animal issue, you just call 911 and get an officer out there. We'll assess the situation, and it could be something where, a lot of the officers, they're beat cops. They might know where that dog belongs. They say, well, that belongs over there. Go house knock on the door, get the dog in the house, and then we can take care of our enforcement after the situation has been made safe.
Isn't that the animal control?
Yes.
Ms. Howell?
What? Can you come up here with us, ma'am?
Yes.
That way we may have questions and the chief can answer, you can answer, so forth and
Yes.
so
Yeah,
on.
don't go far, Chief.
If you don't mind.
This is Ms. Halloran, who's
Come
the
hold my
executive
hand.
director of the Humane Society.
What is that?
Ms. Halloran,
So-
Elizabeth
yes.
Halloran.
Thank you for coming up here. I think I've maybe talked to you a few times, and I've actually been out to the animal shelter to see if we can get a dog as well. So are you having some kind of issues getting out to get the dog or the vicious animal or the cat or whatever?
Well, actually, today is the first I've heard of this, that there was even any issues. As far as having an ACO, we actually have two ACOs. We do have a female and a male ACO that goes out on these calls. If it's during the day that we get the call, that call is taken care of immediately. Now, does that mean we always bring the dog in? No, it does not. We may get there and the dog is no longer there.
So what Mr. Carter is saying, that he called and he's got a problem.
Okay. So I'm not going to stand here and say that we aren't full. We are extremely full. We have 61 antiquated kennels that have been there since the day that place was built. 61 antiquated kennels. Lake City and Columbia County has grown by leaps and bounds. Everybody owns a dog, a pet, more than one. So of course those calls are going to double, they're going to triple, and they have. But every call we get, we go out on during the day, and at night, yes, we do. And then at night after hours, it goes to LCPD, and we are paged, and we have 1 hour. By our contract, we have 1 hour to get there and respond.
Can you give us the number to the animal control? Or can you tell the constituents? What's that number?
Well, the number to animal control is different than the office. Kim, what is that number?
Right. I'm saying, can you tell us what the number is? I want everybody to hear what the number is.
386-752-3191. That is our main line, and it's option 3 for animal control.
And then after hours, you just call the Lake City Police Department. I want to make sure the constituents know that, because obviously there is a problem. I had my problem during the day. Maybe Mr. Carter or Ms. Young had their problem at night. So there's a difference. There's a protocol that we have to go by. But I definitely would. Again, I've never had a serious issue with the Lake City Animal Shelter. So I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
If I can support you in any way, please advise.
Appreciate it.
By the way, I'm looking for a little German Shepherd.
Okay.
You got one? How old is it? A year, okay.
Thank you, Councilman Jernigan. Councilwoman Young, and then
Because it's kind of contradicting now. If there's an issue with a dog, call police. Day or night. If there's an issue with a dog, call police. Allow police department to contact animal control. That way we'll all be in, right?
Correct. That way we have eyes on the animal faster than they're gonna get there. And then we'll keep an eye on the animal and, number one, determine, or they even need to go out. Because sometimes the owner looks out the window, they see the squad car with the lights going, and they come out and they'll take the dog in, and then it becomes an enforcement issue instead of a safety issue. And we can deal with that when it happens.
thank you, Chief. Councilman Carter.
To be clear, first and foremost, I'm a big fan of the Humane Society. I've gotten 3 dogs from the Humane Society. I think they do great work in our community, in the country, and across the world. But what you said a moment ago is patently untrue. It's absolutely untrue. I literally called 3 times in the last week and was told, we can't do it, call the county. I believe that the chief just a moment ago said that frequently they call, because they get called and then they call and they're told they can't, and then he has to call the county. So no, absolutely not is someone is responding to every single call. That's just not true. My neighbor did it 3 times last week. No one came any of those times. So that's just 6 times I did it, they did it. To be clear, I'm not trying, and there may be a situation in which you don't know it. So I'm not trying to call you a liar or anything like that, but to be clear, that is not true.
Okay, so if there's a situation that I don't know.
Hold on, let him finish, and then.
That's not happening, and that's my point. We can determine and advertise all day long who to call when there's a problem. If it's the police, and call the police, and don't call the Humane Society, that number's not for that. That's for if you want to adopt a dog, fine. However it's done, the citizens of the Lake City, see, the money that we pay the Humane Society is not a charitable donation. It is a payment for a service. The service is responding to nuisance animals. From my direct experience this week and from the anecdotal experience of many people in my district, including my neighbor who I saw do it, who's called in front of me, there is not a response every time. It just isn't. And if you don't know that, I'm letting you know that that is not being taken care of. And I would love it if the Humane Society was able to meet those needs. If we're able to figure it out, that is great. I do not care who does it. But if the citizens are paying for the service, they should get the service. And if we've got to jump through 3 or 4 hoops to get it while someone's getting their leg bit off, I don't really think that that's serving anybody. And I want to address it now before the next time someone gets bit by a dog. That's all I have to say. That's not happening, and it needs to be happening.
Okay. And I'm going to say that this is the first I'm hearing of any issue, and I would really appreciate it that maybe when you call and you get those answers, and I'm going to back up and say that when someone calls us, we never refer anyone to county unless they're calling from the county. Yes, there's 2 jurisdictions. We do the city, and the county takes care of city. County takes care of county, I'm sorry. And we do the city. The Humane Society is responsible for the city calls.
Mr. Mayor, if I may respond.
Sure.
Again, that's not true. I think that perhaps you don't know, but it is not true. It is not. I've never called about a county animal. I don't live in the county. I live right in the middle of the city. Every call I've ever made has been from the city, about the city. Everyone that I've talked to about the issue has been from the city, about the city. I've spoke to people who have issues in the county, but I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to the city.
Okay.
So those things are not happening. And Chief, are they? Am I missing something?
Again, it sounds like we have a little communication issue. What I can do, if they're not aware, normally if there's an issue,
Speak into the microphone. Where we
normally if there's an issue, the police department ends up getting called and we go out, like the CAD notes that you referred to from today. What I can do, because Lieutenant Register, who's not there now, he's the patrol lieutenant, he reviews all the reports. If we have an issue with Humane Society responding out, what I can instruct him to do is send a copy of the report over there, so the administration there is aware of what's going on and can correct any deficiencies.
Okay, so to be clear, sorry, may I?
Sure.
So when you get a call, and so you do not have the tools or the equipment to deal with the animal, your first call is to the Humane Society.
Correct.
And at least some of the times, they are unable to help, and then you call the county.
Like the other day when I had a call.
Or today, it sounds like that happened today.
Well, today, the citizen called, and I'm just going by the CAD notes.
Sure.
That they were unavailable. Then when we called, 20 minutes later, the CAD note said that they responded.
Sure, and I guess one of the things I want to focus on too is that it shouldn't have to be the chief of police or a city councilor or the fire chief that makes the call that makes it happen, right? So however it is that it's getting, and that's my thought. My thought is, you know that sometimes when you get a call and you call the Humane Society and they're not able to help, you go to the county. But what does seem to be missing, and in all fairness to the Humane Society, it's like they're not being told that they're not helping. And I don't know that that makes any sense, but she says she's never heard of this. I believe her. So, but also I don't know if your calls are recorded. I don't know how any of that works, but I can tell you that it happened. Those phone calls happen a lot, and where a person is being told to just call someone else. It happens. So if you need to get a recording system in there so you can track how often people are helped or not helped, maybe. But that is the case, and I believe that the chief just told me that is the case for us as well. But in all fairness, it sounds like you're not knowing that. So we got to start somewhere, and that's what the conversation is for.
I think a good feedback loop between the administration, chief, and the Humane Society to maintain a good partnership, I think, would be crucial. Right? Does that make sense?
Well, when you came in, we do work well together. When there's issues, we try and work it out. So getting the copy of the reports over there now, usually something with a vicious dog or something, unless somebody really gets hurt, I'm not made aware of it. So the lieutenant's the one who does review all the patrol reports, so he'd be in a better position to get them a more accurate idea of what's going on. Because even when there's a complaint, the sergeant or the corporal who was on scene will let Lieutenant Register know, and he can either send the report or call over when we have an issue.
Okay.
I have a last question.
All right, one last thing, then Councilwoman Young.
Obviously, it's anecdotal. I'm not asking you to quote any kind of numbers. But in your personal awareness, is it somewhat frequent that we call the Humane Society and determine that we need to use the county's services instead? Or is it very infrequent from your experience at the PD level?
Well, it's very infrequent because the county will only respond if the police chief or the fire chief calls and makes the request under mutual aid. And I think this is the second time since I've been the chief that I had to make that phone call. So 4 years, twice.
Okay. But is it usually you that does it?
The city man, unless the assistant chief or something, it needs to be the police chief or the fire chief or the city manager that invokes the mutual aid. And so it's not a patrolman wouldn't be able to make that phone call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Councilwoman Young.
I don't know, this sounds like Judge Judy. I think the solution to the issue right now is call chief of police. I mean, we don't know who said something or who didn't say something. I don't think it's even important. It's irrelevant, really, right now. So the solution to the problem is call the police department. Is that good?
If they call dispatch, call 911.
Not conditional. You said
No,
call police.
no, call 911. The best bet in an emergency is call 911. County dispatch, who dispatches for police and fire, will dispatch Lake City Police. The officer will get on scene, make a determination of what's going on, and then they contact the Humane Society.
And then I recommend that city administration, I don't know why does the county keep coming up?
Because they have a animal enforcement.
I realize that. So we have a one or two issues where the county was called, but now it just it's too much. We're saying county too much, and we're dealing with the city. You're saying you had to call the county.
Right. And again, that's very infrequent, twice that I can recall since I've been the chief,
That's not bad.
where I had to make that request from the
Animal
county.
control, I think you're doing a good job. Now, it does sound like you're not fully equipped for, the animals that you have, and the city is growing. So I don't wanna prolong this, but what are your future plans?
Takes money.
Yeah, make sure you speak into the microphone.
It certainly takes money to increase our size. This has been spoken about many times. You know, we've sat down and we've talked about it. And we know that as we grow, even if we build 10 more kennels, we're going to fill those 10 kennels up. If we build 20, then we're going to need another 20. So that's just a fact of life. You know, it goes back to the old saying, build it and they will come. And that's certainly what happens. We have very irresponsible pet owners in our community. And everyone falls back on the Lake City Humane Society to solve all their problems.
Sure. Councilwoman Harris had something, and then we'll come back.
I don't know if I like the,
Make sure I speak into the microphone.
I don't know if I like the situation as far as, I understand if it's an emergency, you call 911. I don't know if I would wanna, put that on the chief of police as far as trying to tame animals. I think that if the Humane Society, and it is a money thing, if, the money is there, they could build more. I mean, I don't know what the solution needs to be right now, but I know I live in District 12, and I need the police officers to be on duty for police work. You know, and I understand about the vicious animals and all of that, but I would not want those resources to go towards that. I would like for, the Humane Society, I don't know, you might need to be grown as far as employees, being able to go out, so when a call do come, you could be done on the spot to get it done. But, I don't know what we need to do as far as right now, but I do understand. I remember one time over there in the Gwynn Lake area, it was a lot of dogs over there, and they were vicious. So I do understand that something needs to be done. Maybe we need to be talking about how could we help the Humane Society to do their job more efficiently and effectively, so when a call do come in, they'll be able to handle it. They'll be able to handle it, and not the police.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Mr. Carter, and then Ms. Young.
So I think at least part of the pickle is somewhat obvious to me. So you are currently at or over capacity, right?
Always, every day, always.
Ever, never, probably
Always.
been there before, right?
Always. That sign never comes down.
Sure. And you've recently become a no-kill shelter.
We have.
Right.
Very proud of that.
And that is exciting from being a big.
That's a
animal
huge
person.
milestone for this Lake City Humane Society, because it's never been a no-kill.
Sure, probably because it did not have the money to store the animals. I imagine that becoming a no-kill shelter would immediately make it even harder to not be full or overfull. And at some point, unless the building itself literally grows, it's going to be animals on top of animals to a point that that in itself is inhumane. Would that be an unfair statement?
Nope, that's true.
So I think the pickle that we find ourselves in at the moment is that the Humane Society would like us to continue to pay for the service. But the service it's impossible for it to get better than it is right now. The issue that I'm talking about, where people call the Humane Society about an animal, and to be clear, it's not just a dog biting your foot off. Right now, there's a very friendly dog that a man in my neighborhood lets loose all the time. It is the sweetest dog ever. I've petted it 1,000,000 times. He thinks his dog is friendly, so he lets him run around. But there's a little old lady who lives in my neighborhood who called me the other day and said, I know he's friendly, but I'm 82, and if he jumps up on me, he's almost knocked me down several times. you know, if a person like that falls and breaks their hip or something like that, then it doesn't matter if it's a vicious dog. So if that lady calls the Humane Society and says, there's a dog running around in the neighborhood that I live in, and I need someone to come pick this thing up before it knocks me over, that's just as important as there's currently a dog chewing my foot off. So by being a no-kill shelter, which is noble and I appreciate it, it seems to make it even, I don't know how you can be that, have the resources that you currently have, and be able to do this service for anyone to an efficient degree. That is a challenge, is it not?
Sure it is.
So as the
But it's-
municipality who's not making this payment as a charitable donation, now the city could, I guess, make a charitable donation to the Humane Society. That's a different conversation. But just one organization paying another organization for a service, and that organization has recently made a decision that, while noble, makes it even harder for them to do that service. I think it's obvious what I'm implying, but I'm curious what we think we ought to do about it. I know that the county recently decided to build a bunch of kennels, and if I'm not mistaken, they're running a similar service, but they're not a no-kill shelter. They understand the impracticality of that. I think the county has certain interesting ordinances. I spoke to the attorney. He said we would be able to theoretically opt into some of their stuff. I think that it's at least worth looking into whether or not we need to do something different. I don't know how often someone calls and just gets told, I can't help you. They call the other person and get told, we can't help you. And then they just go, well, he's not biting my foot off. I'm not going to call the police.
Well, in January alone, we took in 35 from the city. February, we took in 30. March, we took in 45. April, 39. May, 62. This is in addition to the animals that we already have there, with 61 kennels. In June, we took in 72. This is in addition to the animals we already have there with 61 kennels. In July, it was 58. August, it was 60. September, 34. October, 87. This is in addition to the animals we already have there. We work very diligently on working with other humane societies that can come and pull the dogs. We have successfully done that, which helps tremendously to empty kennels. Now, the thing of it is 61 kennels are for the big dogs. Okay, that doesn't count where we have the puppies and the small surgical kennels. So let's just talk about county for a minute, since it's been brought up numerous times tonight. Every time we empty a kennel, county knows when we empty that kennel, and they'll call us and say, I've got 2 dogs I've got to bring over. I've got 1 empty kennel. I can't take 2 dogs. They have 8 kennels sitting over there, and we have asked them time and time again, when we are full, we can't take any more dogs. Please let us use your 8 kennels. I'll send my kennel techs over to clean those 8 kennels. And we have done that. We have worked in a partnership to make this work. We also contract with 3 prisons that come and pull 6 to 7 dogs every 12 weeks and take those dogs. That's not a guarantee that those dogs don't come back, that they won't come back, but most generally they do not, because they're adopted out straight from the prison. So we work with 3 different prisons. We work with K9 for Warriors that come and bring it. They probably pull 2 at the most when they come. But all this helps us to empty those kennels. But it is a challenge every day. And if we had every kennel open, I can guarantee you within 10 minutes, they would all be full again.
What is your current census, roughly? Any idea how many dogs you currently have?
I'm going to take a wild stab at it, 85.
Okay. So again, there's 2 Jameses here, right? I really empathize with the struggles that the Humane Society is having, right? As a dog owner who, again, tells everyone he knows to adopt, because it's a problem. And there's bigger problems, clearly, like irresponsible ownership, right? Obviously, you guys get all these people because people keep buying puppies they don't need, and this is a whole other problem that that I'd love to see addressed, but we can't legislate here. So the other James here is the representative of the people who are spending money on a service. I believe that as far as the ability to effectively provide that service, becoming a no-kill shelter effectively makes it impossible.
So
Empty again.
would you rather us be a kill shelter again and go through every week and choose 7 to 10 dogs and say, you die today, and there's nothing wrong with that dog. That dog has just been there longer than he should have been.
I think that's absolutely heartbreaking.
Yes, it is.
Very necessary. If we've got
And
80
so-
dogs a month being picked up in Lake City.
And so do your constituents. They think it's absolutely heartbreaking.
I think a lot of them also think it's necessary, especially when they can't get people to pick up the dogs.
Ms. Young, you had something?
Councilman Carter, I don't think you're in support of him. Earlier you said you're in support of him,
I am.
but
They're an organization that's doing good things for animals. I support that. They're also a business, and we're paying them for a service, and we're not getting that service. At least not to any level of consistency that would make sense to continue to do it. And if they're at capacity and will remain at capacity effectively forever,
so
then there'll be a lot of people always being told, we can't do it.
So is it that you want us to stop funding them so the dogs can go to the county and
I want us to pay someone, and when someone calls about a dog, they come.
the county?
Yes. No, I don't care who it is.
County. It's obvious.
I have a question for Mr. Martin. I know that this was brought up about a month and a half ago or so, but the puppy mills by Walmart. Do we have we had any progress on finding the laws that we can implement to punish those folks?
So
No.
we were told in that presentation that the county had something that they were enforcing. We looked, and the county does not have a county ordinance to enforce. So the question then becomes, does the city want to adopt its own ordinance? Some of the substance of what I discussed with Councilman Carter this morning was the idea, and it would need further study. It was just a concept. I haven't read all of the county's animal control ordinance, but there's something to be said for the city opting into, and you can do this under the county charter. The city can opt into their animal control ordinance. The reason that may be something worth exploring is, when we talk about land use laws, land doesn't move around. Land stays where it is. It knows where the boundaries are. We know where the boundaries are. And so it makes it easy for the city to enforce its land use laws on land in the city, county to enforce land use laws on lands in the county. Animals don't know that. And so it makes it difficult to determine many times who a dog, in this instance, may belong to. It's difficult to instruct a person to a particular agency to find their animal if their animal's missing, because there are at least 2 agencies in the county where it could be, if it went over a county line, depending on where it's located, it could be in an adjacent county. But at least within the county, for purposes of an ordinance, there would be some symmetry in opting into the county ordinance. That in and of itself has nothing to do with who is actually enforcing that ordinance. We still could stay with the Humane Society if that's what the council wanted to do. But as to your question about the sale of puppies, it may be worth looking at with the county and adopting something jointly that we opt into, so that there's uniform enforcement across the county of that ordinance.
I think that any switch of, my 2 cents, any switch of service would somewhat be a Band-Aid solution to a broad problem. I'm still in favor of admin, the animal shelter, law enforcement, our county partners as well, getting together to come up with a good solution where we can address the laws all the way down to overproduction of puppies in our community, to abandonment, to all of these things, and then come back and us be able to implement them both at this level and give the county the opportunity to implement them at that level so that we're consistent in enforcing the same laws and working with clear language across the board. And then definitely having a public education campaign on who to call, when and why, and who's going to show up, and making sure that that's the case, and then having a strict accountability on the back end of that. Does that make sense?
You asking me, does it make sense?
I'm asking the council, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it sounds really good. I must say, Mayor, it sounds really good, very professional, well thought out, I guess. However, Carter's is saying that we're paying for a service, that the citizens are paying for a service that we're not getting. That's where I think that's what the problem is. And it's obvious that she did not receive those phone calls because she would have done something about it, I believe. And we got a system in place now. Maybe it is an old system, 40, 50 years. Maybe there's no kill. But to combine the two, or opt out, or do away with them, it's going to go from a city problem to a county problem. And then what do we do then? We come back to the city and say, hey, we made a mistake. Instead of just working with her, with the animal shelter here that we have. And I believe that she is very stern about those animals and making sure that that the constituents' safety is the #1 priority, and that those animals has to be somewhere. You heard her say she's sending them to the prisons, and I know for a fact she's sending them there because they sent them when I was there. She's sending them maybe to another animal shelter. She's doing everything she can to get through the day or through the month. And I just don't think we're being fair. If somebody's talking about combining this, or let's talk about this, or what, it's very simple. Listen to me carefully. I don't care if it's an animal, if it's a person. If it's an emergency, you dial 911. How simple is that? If it's vicious or not, in your mind, it's vicious. Maybe it's not. You just call 911, and they're gonna come out. I'd rather for the chief of police and his administration to come out there before I call animal shelter. Just the fact is, if it's a bad situation, I know they're gonna take care of it. But if it's not, they're gonna just sit right there and wait for the animal shelter to show up. I mean, how simple is this? We just got an overflow of dogs, an overflow of animals, and that's what the problem is. It ain't the service; it's the overflow. Sure. So I think that we should keep it just the way we got it, and come up with a solution to help the animal shelter instead of in my mind, instead of trying to eliminate them and just turn everything over to somebody else. I can't see that, and I will not stand for that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to say something first. To be clear, that's exactly what I'm saying. Work with the Humane Society, because these issues are endemic of broader issues, right? Dogs running around isn't a problem that originates at the police department, isn't a problem that originates at the Humane Society. It is a community issue that is not being addressed adequately at the education level, and it might be at the ordinance level too, right? So it is a set of broader issues causing this conversation. So I think that a task force to put together some solutions, best practices from around the state, around the country, of how these government entities work together to solve these problems, so that Councilman Carter's neighbor or neighborhood isn't being assaulted by either a friendly or unfriendly dog, that children aren't in harm's way, that kind of thing. That's what I'm saying. I think that we need somewhat of a joint task force on animals to educate and bring ordinances to bear on irresponsible pet ownership and handling. That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense? Miss,
First of all, I don't want my life or limbs in the hands of animal control. I definitely will call 911 and would advise anyone else to do so. They can't respond as quickly as the police department. And I'm sitting here and I really didn't want to get this deep in thought with animals. I'm not a lover of animals, but I have a great concern for animals. I was reared in a home where my dad loved dogs, so I always had dogs growing up, so I do have a concern. But it kind of grieves me that we're sitting here going back and forth about animals. It's a problem we have that we will never be able to just bring it to completion. It's always going to be, like she said, the more kennels, the more dogs. But when I go home, I see humans laying on the streets. So we have issues in Lake City, and we need to, I agree, to help. We need to help Humane Society, who are trying their best to help out with these animals. If we don't do nothing, we will have more of a serious problem than we have. But we have more issues, and I don't want to bring up the homeless, but you can't help but bring up the homeless. When we're talking about animals, and I got to go home and look at people laying on benches and on sidewalks and on. So we have issues that we will never come to completion. We're always going to have to work toward at least them ceasing to a lower number. So we won't ever fix this problem. So I agree to help. And then we need to think on the other.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Mr. Carter.
So I brought up this discussion very specifically with no intention at the moment of seeking specific action. Again, I know right now, you guys here with the Humane Society don't believe me when I say I'm a big supporter of the Humane Society. I've gotten multiple animals from there, and I literally tell people to adopt all the time because I understand the bigger
Thank
issue.
you.
Truly. And I am perfectly fine with us developing some sort of task force and trying to find a way for the Humane Society to meet those needs we're talking about. I'm not at all discounting that what you're doing is, honestly, it's basically an impossible job. I recognize that, and that's part of the issue. I want to make sure you guys know that I'm not on a team that's against you.
Come spend a day with us.
Sure. I volunteered at the Humane Society when I was in high school, so I mean I know that it's rough. It was tough back then, but there are issues, and I think that we need to figure out both communication and stuff. And again, I did not expect tonight that when I said that these certain phone calls are happening, I did not expect you to say that they are not happening. They kind of went in a whole different direction. I did not know that you did not know that happened.
So here's what I would suggest. When you call the Humane Society that many times and you don't get any action, you call me directly and I'll take care of it myself. I'll make sure that it's taken care of. But I've not been given that opportunity. So today when you told me that this was your issue, first I've heard of it.
Wow.
First I've heard of it.
What's your number, man? You can.
Don't give out your cell phone. This is a public forum. You guys can connect after the meeting and do that. But are we?
Yeah, I think we're all on something of the same page. I'd like to see the police chief and legal and manager kind of bring back some ideas on how we can work through some of this.
Best practices around the state. Does that make sense? With you.
Yes.
Working with you to develop those for Lake City.
Magic words, working with us, okay, because that's never happened in the past, okay? We have been condemned for many years. The Humane Society has been condemned for everything we do. If we kill dogs, we're condemned. If we don't kill dogs, we're condemned.
Right.
It gets old. There's no support out there. But I will tell you that when I stopped killing dogs every week, we started getting donors back. We started getting sponsors back. We started getting volunteers back. We have a following that is larger than the Chamber of Commerce in Lake City. Those are all positive things. Those are all things that I've changed in the less than 2 years that I've been there. These are all good things. So, Mr. Carter, I say to you, I'm sorry that you have called the Humane Society and your issue was not addressed, but I do encourage you, if that happens again, you call me directly.
All right, perfect.
I will take care of it.
Thank you, Miss Elizabeth. Make sure that you guys connect after the meeting. All right.
Did you say Senator Carter?
No.
I thought you said Senator Carter.
No. All right. Let's not get off topic. All right. Now we're on to department comments by our charter officers, and we're going to start with you, Mr. Rosenthal.
I don't have any comments tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. Mr. Martin vacated his seat. Should we wait? Ms. Sykes, we'll move on to you.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for all the texts, calls, flowers, and cards on the passing of my mother-in-law. So just thank you all for your kindness on that.
Thank you, Ms. Sykes. All right, now we're going to move into comments by council members. We'll start with you, Vice Mayor Young.
Okay, I would just like to say today is National Day of Prayer, and I would love to have had a proclamation.
Absolutely, yeah.
In that we do believe, I believe all of us believe in prayer. We pray here before every meeting, and certainly depend on it. I see it to run. All right, and I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Young.
Mayor,
yes.
did she say she wanted to come back
As a
at the next
proclamation?
meeting? At the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Before we move on to you, Councilman Jernigan, Mr. Martin, do you have any comments?
You snooze, you lose.
That's right.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Jernigan.
Again, I'd like to thank the individuals that came out tonight from the animal shelter, that young man right there, in support of the different things that we have. And I just want to appreciate the police department and the fire department and all of these people out here. When you see them, please just go by and check on them, make sure they're okay. Just say, anything we could do to assist. I wanted to follow up on the officer who got shot. I hadn't heard anything. I don't know if you guys have, but I haven't heard anything on that particular guy. And I just want to know how he's doing. I don't know the circumstances. And my heart still goes out for him, and anything, I could do to assist him, by all means, just let me know.
Officer Hardison's recovering. Actually, today I got notified that next week he's been cleared to return to a limited light duty. So
That's excellent.
I expect to see him sometime next week. He still has a ways to go before he can return to full duty, but he is healing well. So thank you for your concern.
Good. That's excellent news. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Councilman Jernigan. Councilman Carter.
I've made this meeting long enough. I got nothing.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Carter. Councilwoman Harris.
Yes, sir. I spoke with the city manager about some grants, and I thought maybe we can give him a directive to approve the grants, because grants is like free money. I understand why it has to come to the diocese for us to agree to get the money. So if we could come to a consensus that he just approved it instead of it come to the board.
I think it's legal. What's the requirement on that?
It's ultimately up to the council. The current policy is because when I first started, the manager could not even apply for a grant without bringing it to council. The council changed that policy, and so now the manager can apply for a grant if there is no required match from the city. In other words, it really is free money. So he can do that, but when the agreement comes back with that grant, assuming we receive it, the grant agreement does require approval from council, because sometimes even though the money's free, itself, there could be staffing requirements and those kinds of things that the council may want to be aware of. However, if the council wanted to adopt a resolution that set forth criteria, setting forth what the manager could agree to without bringing it back to council, maybe based on a monetary limit or other criteria, that's something we can certainly pull together for the council based on the criteria you want and put it before you for a vote. It's really up to the council.
When chief of police received the grant and they had to come up here for us to vote on something as simple as that. I'm not talking about if the city have to match it, of course, yeah, we need to vote on it. But if it's something where it's just free money that, even if it's the fire department and the grants, they're gonna give them the grants. Why does it what?
Go ahead, I'm saying.
So, if the money has been approved and they're gonna get the money and it's free money and it's nothing that the city have to add on, why can't the city manager just go ahead and accept it versus we having to wait to another, meeting, stretching out the meetings to be longer?
Again, that's, according to the city charter, the mayor is who signs contracts, and the mayor can't sign a contract without council approval. That would be something that, should the council, set forth, very strict criteria about what the manager can enter into, just like he can sign contracts for purchases, less than $35,000. If the council wanted to set, out certain criteria that are very specific on what he can sign without bringing it back to council, that's certainly something the council can entertain and do. You just need to get a direction.
Right. My thought is, I just don't want these meetings to be drawn out like they are tonight. If it's something that the city manager can do without it being put on the agenda, and then we have to wait till you get to number 10 and we vote on it. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about if it's gonna cost extra staff or if it's gonna cost us to match this or that. I'm not talking about that. Just talking about simple grants.
Typically, we just throw those on the consent agenda, just if we don't have to do anything.
Why do it have to even be put on the consent agenda? Why just, that's what I'm asking, can he just approve us?
Which would take me, if it, I don't know. We just have to set, so what he's saying is the only reason it has to go on the agenda at all is because the only person that can sign for those things is the mayor, whoever the mayor is at the time.
But the mayor can't sign it without council.
Sure, and that's what, yeah. So that's why it has to be on the agenda and voted on. So I can't sign anything without the council voting on it, whether it's on the consent agenda or on it as an independent item.
I still say, if it is involving the city having to match something or put staff in place, I understand that. But if it's something as simple as somebody applied for got the grant, why does it have to be even put on the consent agenda? Why he just can't approve it?
If I can say.
Yep, Mr. Young.
It's also, Councilwoman Harris, it's informative and accountability.
If it's free money that's going to, okay.
How would we know about
The city manager can know about it. He can inform us. Do it. Okay, that was just a thought. I'm trying to lower these meetings down because I really want to get home and to talk about something that's as frivolous as free money that's coming to the city to help the city, but I got you. Okay, another thing on item number 10, we talked about, cutting down the trees. I asked city manager, can we use the trees? Because we ended up buying mulch for the city hall. If we could use those trees, get them chipped down, and city could possibly use it versus us having to spend money to buy stuff like that. Just a thought.
Good thought. Thank you, Councilwoman Harris. No, I'm sorry. Stop.
No.
Sorry, okay.
I got one more thing. I'm gonna say this, and if the council have, a rebuttal or whatever, I want you to say it tonight so it could be noted. If we are in a parade and we gather candy to throw out. If that candy does not supply the entire parade from one end to the next end, we should not throw it out. I received a couple of phone calls or what have you of some constituents saying that candy was thrown on one end and then the other end it wasn't. I don't want to ever make somebody feel like I'm preferring somebody over somebody else. I just don't want to do that. I don't want my children to go through it, I don't want my grandchildren to go through it, and I don't want nobody else to go through it. So if it's okay with you that you do that, please put it on record tonight. And with that being said, I yield the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. You have something, Ms. Young?
I thought we were not supposed to throw candy in a parade. That,
Chief says that is accurate.
yeah, that's safe to have.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. All right.
Before you
Yes,
do
ma'am.
your closing, may I please say one thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Be short. I just want to thank our two CRA community business owners for coming to the meeting tonight. I really appreciate seeing you all, and we want you to come to more. Thank you for having an interest in our community, beautifying it, bringing the businesses in. Thank you so much.
Who is
So,
Councilman Young, Councilman Carter, you also had something.
I really just want to second what Ms. Chavella just said. When I first started on the council, at the end of every meeting, I was like asking people, please come. We want to hear from you. If you own a business or if you do business in Lake City, come to these meetings and talk to us. That podium is available for anyone that's listening right now at home. You know, I hear a lot of criticisms about the decisions that are made up here, and it's fair that they're decisions that deserve criticism. But, you know, when left to our own devices, it's just us in an empty room most of the time. You know, if Mr. Lofstrom, Ms. Lindley, you know, we got a couple of regulars, you know, and it's terrific that they come and voice their opinions. Okay, Mr. Shepard and Mr. Jones.
Who is
Again,
Mr. Shepherd?
thank you. Oh, I know Mr. Shepard. I have used him many times. He's also very good at push-ups. But thank you guys, and tell your friends, tell everybody you know. We want you here.
Sure, come on out, Mr. Shepard. Or Mr. Jones, sorry. And then I'll wrap up this meeting.
don't preach.
You know what? I got to say something. When I first got here, I was kind of scared to talk, but I done learned so much with the meeting that we did at the gym with here. I always wanted to come here, but I was nervous. But at the same time, I look at my community, and I look at what I'm trying to do to the community. I'm from the west side of town. And when I first started, it was only me. I got a couple guys that work with me now. And we just trying to build up the community. At the end of the day, you got to start with yourself. You got to look in the mirror and you got to look at yourself. And when you look in the mirror and you see yourself and you see what you can capable of doing, and at the same time, you can ask for help and say, you know what, I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm capable of doing. And if it wasn't for God, because at the end of the day, God woke us up this morning.
Amen.
He blessed us this morning. So a lot of times we complain about what we don't have, but look what we do have. Amen. And we got life. And if we can help somebody, don't walk over that person, grab your hand and pull that person up, because I ain't always been where I'm at. I heard the young lady, she said that she had like 12 brothers and sisters. I got 16. I'm the baby out of 12 with my mom. And I know how far it took to come from not having water in your house to, you know, using the bathroom and stuff like that. So I don't take nothing for granted. And I realize that at the end of the day, I'm not gonna look down on somebody that ain't fortunate enough to have what I have. If I can lift you up, I'm gonna lift you up. And I would just want to thank each and every last one of y'all, because if it wasn't for me coming here, I wouldn't know what y'all do. A lot of people used to say, come to the meet, come to the meet. Y'all gonna see me here. I'm not just gonna be here just to look and this is I wanna express my opinions on a lot of things. And I would just wanna say thank each and every last one of y'all. I know we're not gonna be 100% agreeing on everything, but if we can get to the point where we can at least have a conversation, you know what I'm saying? Because as a man, you can have a conversation. You can hear one thing, I can make a suggestion, and you can call them my suggestion. So at the end of the day, I want to thank y'all so much, and thank y'all so much.
I'm sorry,
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Jones,
Jones.
just share with the council, you said the west side, could you say what district that is and who's your council person?
District 12. If you don't know, District 12, Tammy Harris. Very good. Yeah. I appreciate you, Mr. Jones.
We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
All right. To wrap this meeting up, comments. We've got several events coming up, guys. We got Veterans Day Parade on November 8th. That's Saturday. It's actually not. It's not going to be on Veterans Day. It's going to be on Saturday, November 8th. So if you're interested in going to the Veterans Day Parade, that is this Saturday, November 8th. Safety training for Houses of Worship is going to be November 18th. That's done through the police department. Farm Share, also done through the police department, is going to be November 22nd. So if you're interested in either of those, make sure that you check out their Facebook, get that information. Farm Share is free food, so if you're in need of that or you're interested in that, that's going to be November 22nd again. And then I wanted to bring something up with the council. Two things, actually, on the parade. Just to make sure that everyone who's in the parade from the council that we're all together, but that I know that the fire truck, the old fire truck, can be a little bit of an obstacle at times. So maybe we get that side by side to roll behind it if we're going to be in the parade. That way we're all together and that the city sees that the council is all in one place. Does that make sense?
Not to me.
Okay.
I think if we choose to ride our own, whether it's a golf cart or whatever, we should be able to,
Sure.
as long as we have a sign.
Yeah,
Y'all
together though in that area.
And,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you. And then there's another thing that I wanted to bring up is that currently, and my thought on this is because it's so close to the new year and the holidays, is we have a meeting on January 6th. And whenever I was looking at the possibility of either approaching the council about switching that meeting to extend our holiday break, or cancel that meeting to extend our holiday break, I ran into an issue that we have to have 2 meetings per month, and so. Help me out here, Clay, because we talked about this extensively. But what I'm asking to do is for us to look at that ordinance, make small necessary changes for us to be able to cancel a meeting if we so choose, because we don't have that ability right now. And then to in a coming meeting to cancel our meeting for January 6th, if you guys are interested. If you're not, that's okay. Yeah.
And just it's January 5th.
January 5th. Sorry, that first one. It's the first Monday.
The first meeting in January is January 5th, 2026.
So just a thought on that. Yes, sir.
I spoke with Clay about this as well, Mr. Martin. Yeah, I agree that we should probably alter the ordinance so that we have the ability to control our schedule. I agree with you. We should change that so that if we feel the need to cancel a meeting, we can.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Something we vote on, would it come back for a vote?
Yeah, it'll be an ordinance. Yeah, so we'll have to make an amendment to that ordinance within our code.
So we will still do Mondays, or it can be any day of the week?
Yeah, we'll still do Mondays.
Okay.
We'll still, unless we have to reschedule, but it allows us that if the rescheduling is going to be so ridiculous, let's say, like whenever we had those budget workshops here a couple of weeks ago, and we had to end up scheduling it on Wednesday because we had to have 2 meetings, it threw the whole schedule off. Does that make sense?
That's what I was gonna say, because normally we'll end up on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I do Bible study on Wednesday.
Sure.
So I would kind of hope that we would lean
Well,
toward.
this just gives us the opportunity to cancel a meeting if it's necessary or we choose, but we have to vote to cancel that meeting. Does that make sense?
I was going to say,
Mr.
to make sure I'm on the same page with what I bring back, it would be to amend the ordinance to just allow the council to cancel 1 regular meeting in a month. You couldn't cancel both. You'd have to have the second meeting if you cancel the other one. If you needed an additional meeting, then you would schedule that under the special meeting ordinance that's already in existence.
This is just a thought, and obviously, whenever it comes back before us, we'll hear what the public says, whether they want us to do it or not. But yes, sir, Mr. Jernigan.
Yeah, why would we cancel a meeting? Is it some type of emergency? I mean, why would you cancel a meeting? But you can't have a meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning. But you want to cancel a meeting? Mayor, come on, Mayor. I don't even think that you should entertain that when you talk about cancel a meeting. If you can't make it, we got your vice mayor, we have 4 people, 3 people, whatever the case, but not to cancel a meeting. But you, come on.
It's just a thought.
Mr.
It's up for
Mayor.
discussion.
But your thoughts, he's thinking about putting that, to looking at the ordinance, and making amended or something, and I don't think that's necessary, so I'm not for canceling a meeting.
Ms. Sykes, you have a
I
question?
just had a question. Clay and I had also talked about cleaning up some language in the ordinance as it relates to being able to reschedule a meeting as well. So that might also need a little cleaning up as well. Would you all be okay if he came up with some language to make it a little more clear in the ordinance if we have to reschedule a meeting? Because it's not super clear.
Sure.
I'll work with Ms. Sykes on that.
Right.
All right. Sound good? That's the end of the meeting. So have a good night.